You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE LP 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
Come around with more than 1 or 2 votes. We need the kind of change that's affordable to the rich man or the man that's too broke. TNT, we need a new hope.
If you can look as far as I see, within this great land we call TNT, there's birds and bees, rivers and seas, pretty woman bringing man to their knees. Treasures of this blessed land we always neglect like ISO and PAL. I find it so strange the way we arrange. Still this nation don't know how to change. To some change might just mean a new car, could mean less than $1. To most change have this nice scent we usually get from the government. You see, change is something we always say, but every time we change, things remain the same way. Things keep getting worse and worse, so this is what I propose. Change for a better nation. Change for all foundations. Change so that we can say that this nation here came from quite down there. I say change within the school systems. Stop changing ministers and change what we teach them. But things won't change despite all we do if change doesn't start with you. It's murders, killings galore. So much gunmen fighting needless war. I can't tell you stay, can't tell you go, cause this still the land we used to know. Homeless, every corner you meet, and they're complimented by our dirty streets. And we wonder why in our sister isle, why they don't like Trinis to come and spend time. Well, you see, it's much more than paving a whole road, and it's greater than fixing a lamp pole. Changes about the whole nation and how we are portrayed when the party done. Who set these standards in my TNT? Really wish somebody here could tell me. It's just the same thing again and again, like we leaders don't use the brain. So change the change within our country. Change so the whole world could see. Change for better future, so we don't have to depend on our next day. I say change within the society. Otherwise we have a bandit factory. But things won't change despite all we do if change doesn't start with you. Yeah. In our youth, we leave all the weight, cause in most leaders, we done a lost faith. They're full of such greed. Oh, Father, I plead, please, Lord, have some mercy on the seas. Cause the youth are trying their best, but they're born in this place of lies and commerce. So eventually, things get heavy. chances are they might turn out just like we. But you see, could put an end to all this foolishness and could break this chain link of sadness. Change could help our leaders to grow and start preparing youths for tomorrow. Don't see change as something timely and start seeing change as your duty. To stop them from hurting one day is we had to point the way. So change the change for better transparency. Change the change for better economy. Change the change so no man one day will take we money and just fly away. I say for young Calypsonians and stop saying culture is in good hands. But things won't change despite all we do if change doesn't start with you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. For those who don't know how to arrange what I might mean by change. It means restructure what is regular so that we can have a different culture. From ISO, they get solutions, but still they treat us like stupid ones. They neglectingly, repeatedly, constantly insulting our country. But if we understand to value each other and change what means there's a better future. I hope one day our leaders know true culture and need is how people grow. While they're fighting politically, wasting the nation's time and money. They pay people for advisory, but like my own it is for free. So change for the struggling pan man. Change for the old Calypsonian. Change for the elderly. So grandma and grandpa could die happy. I said change for all opposition. So next time they'll approve legislation. But it won't change despite all we do. If change doesn't start with you. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Let me say a special hello to all the WZYE 95.9 FM listeners. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. And we come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. That's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 10 p.m. So, folks, I will be flying solo tonight for some time. You know, you have solo still on the highway, right? I'll be flying solo. Not a banana solo, not a red solo. They have green solo or black. Maybe they have grape solo, right? Maybe a grape solo. I'll be flying grape solo tonight, or maybe a black solo. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM, and of course, we come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. And you see how things kind of heating up, but heating up. I think we might have to go a little longer, I think so, Things heating up in Trinidad and Tobago. They're really heating up, but, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, of course. Let me quickly go over to the chat here and see what is going on. Our chat. Oh, good. And folks, of course, it is very normal here in the village with the DAG Triplet for a young lady by the name of Nadia. It's either Nadia or Tekisha comes in first in the chat all the time. It's no big news. But as we do it here in the village with the DAG Triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM, first person was Nadia, second person was Nadia, third person was Nadia. Let me get that right, yeah? God is first, second, third, fourth. And of course, we had Tekisha coming in fifth, sixth, 7th, 8th, 9th, and then Joan Jadube broke the streak. She came in 10th. And then we have Takesha again. Takesha, Joan Jadube, welcome. Takesha, welcome. And then, sort of breaking it a little bit, was Vonnie Roberts. Vonnie boy, all you mail in the chat, all you had to do something, man. No, all you had to do something, man. All the time, only line to Keisha and Nadia, and even Joan and all. Come on, all you. All you had to get up and do something, man. Lana, you're inside. Let me see it going. Troy Smith, hey, my partner, Troy Smith, boy. Troy, how you going, partner? Troy Smith. Lana, yeah, boy, we had to talk about that, boy. Yeah. The whole thing changing up in Trinidad, Because, hey, look, my partner, Albert Montano out of, where Albert is again? In Ontario, boy? Is Ontario, Canada? Rajvi, hey, Rajvi ain't tonight, boy. All right. So, we have a new person. I think this is a new person, Davidson Annie. Davidson Annie. The name look kind of new. So let's welcome Davidson Annie. And let me bring in the Phantom here. Gary, welcome.
Good evening, family. How is everybody doing tonight?
Yeah. Everybody doing fantabulous, man. David Annie, folks in the chat, welcome. David Annie. Davidson Annie, welcome. Albert Montano. Yeah, Davidson Annie, welcome to the Taste of Our Culture, boy. The Taste of Our Culture, full 100. Full 100. Let me see who else here, boy. Albert Montano. Yeah, boy, Albert, 3 hours, boy. That is it. Miss Coover, welcome, boy. Miss Coover, boy. Whoa, Miss Coover. She inside. She inside early o'clock tonight, boy. Miss Coover inside early. Rajvi, hey. Rajvi like you know Annie, boy. Rajvi want to know what's going on with Annie. Rajvi like you know everybody, So, guy, where's the story, partner?
Well, I'm watching here.
Your mic a little low, Gary.
All right, let me plug on my headset.
All right, cool. So, Takesha says, school opening just now in Trinidad, and teachers begging parents for help to have their classrooms up and running. Nah, Takesha, man. That is true, Takesha. Takesha, that is true. Oh, God, Takesha like she upset, boy. Takesha says all the government got to do is lie in the country. They give, oh, Takesha, what, Takesha, what, Takesha? Takesha, like. Takesha said I'm really upset with the PNM party, boy. But Takesha just said that, let me say something here. I mean, sometimes you have to take something to that grain of salt, you know what I mean? But I want to see this here. Where is this one? Okay, here it is. I don't know if this is rhetoric or what, but Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Busesa is warning Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley that the PNM people want him out. So, I mean, I would like to know where Ms. Kamala Prasad-Busesa getting the information from, because, I would like to know. Because you have to ask yourself if, here we go. Here it is. So, an article in today's Express says, Kamala warns Rowley, people want you out. Opposition leader Kamala Prasad-Busesa has warned Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley that there are moves afoot in the People's National Movement camp to get him out of office. Oh, God. Kamala want to warn Dr. Rowley, boy. Kamala says, I want to warn you, Rowley. Some of your own members are gunning for you. They are coming for you. Your cabinet is imploding. It is falling apart. Oh God. How she sung like Barra Jack Day also, boy. How she sung like the same kind of language, you know. And we have to
Well,
address that
you
well.
hear me? Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, you're much better now.
So I will let the two of them settle that. My concern is the article of the autopsy by Mr.
But let me finish
Randy.
this though, Gary. Gary, let me finish this
Yeah.
though. Let me finish this. All right. So I want to warn you, Rowley. Some of your own members are gunning for you. They are coming for you. Your cabinet is imploding. It's falling apart. God, she taking words out of Barra Jack Day mouth, but the vice president of Guyana. Not just the country you have destroyed, but your own cabinet is imploding, says Posad Besessa. And if you think I'm wrong, you better put your spies out there because they are coming for you in this wrong. I just got a call. Oh God. Oh God. I got 3 calls before I come into the platform. So Rowley, watch out. They are triggering to get you out of office and you deserve to be put out of office politically and legally. So she added. So listen, I want Mrs. Kamala Posad Besessa to come clean with the public, and release the calls that she just black out the numbers
No,
and
no, but she
prove.
can't do that, answer. She can't do that because then I can't ask
No, but
anybody to
Gary,
do that.
black out the number and prove
But
that she's talking.
yeah.
But how you ever proving she's telling truth or false?
Well, I mean, why do you need to prove it? I mean, in the sense that she said it, so
Well, this because
she
this
had
is
to own up. She has to own up and take responsibility for that.
but this is
You know,
big, Gary.
that's
This is
where.
big.
Yeah, but
This is
this
large.
is politics. This is politics. You have to prove nothing. You have to prove nothing.
Oh, all right. So you just throw things
You
up
know,
on the wall and see what will stick.
but that's
Like
how this work.
spaghetti.
You have to see Doctor already talk about email gate and all the thing, and everything turned out to be a big sham, and it wasn't true. He
Oh,
and
okay,
all should have
okay.
checked the facts. If somebody bring this to him, he should have checked all that before he run and say it all there. But when when in the heat of the moment, the politics does run that way. You know, that's how it does run.
So the
But
both
like I
parties
said,
decide.
let the two of them settle that. You know, let the two of them
So
settle
the two
that.
are,
That'll be
so
between them.
Gary, we are allowing the parties to throw anything out there, whether it's true or false, and see what will stick.
No, we allow it.
We're
That's how
allowing
it's
that.
been going all the time. It's been going like that.
But when are we gonna start? Let me give you an example. Right? Dr. Rowley said that Charles, right? Rodney Charles was the only one that met with Marie Le Pen.
Right.
Right? In this country, we fact check information. You know for a fact.
But
And
anybody in
fact,
Trinidad, anybody, especially supporters up in the north, did they ask him to verify that? No. They must have
verify
went
what?
rah 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 rah. Yeah, he Rodney Charles associated with a racist, right? That's how they went about it, right? And he shamed Trinidad, right? That's what Dr. Rowley said. The man shamed Trinidad. Rah 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 rah. Okay, the prime minister said rah 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 rah. And we all going along with it, right?
But
So
Gary, part of the problem is this, it's both sides of the coin of the
whether
two
here
parties.
in the United States, that's how the politics run, partner.
Yeah, but why are we allowing the politics to run like that? So we should just sit back and
The
relax and say, all
people
right.
is the people running with it. Is the people running with it? We, if that's how they want to go about it, they don't want to check out nothing. And the minute we say something about outside here, because we live out here. I mean, America, and we feel we know this, and we feel we know that. I mean, I got my own relatives that's be saying them kind of thing to me, much less for strangers. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we put a number 5. Yes, we put a number 5. We show that interest, and our interest is conveniently accepted. The fact that we make some donations, and that's what they want. They want to hear. They want to hear every voice after that. So unless the people of the diaspora, the listening audience worldwide, this is the platform we have offered everyone an opportunity. We have reiterated that this is a platform to bring everybody together, to say what you agree with and say what you disagree with, and give you a voice. We don't tell nobody what to say here. We will give everybody a chance to say what they have to say. You know, you say something, I will tell you if I disagree, and that's how it is. You know, I will tell you what I know, you will say what you know. But at the end of the day, we want the best for the country, and we cannot achieve anything with us hiding in the corner. You know, we all hiding in a corner. You know, we go grumble a little bit, but we're not doing anything about it. Do something about something, man. Shake a leg. You know, so that's why I want to say everybody in the listening audience, you know, whether you're inside or outside the country, Trinidad belong to you. Trinidad and Tobago belong to you. Take a stand, raise your voice, please.
Yeah, but Gary, you see, now, Curtis Montresard, welcome. Takisha, the voice note you send me, can I play it on air? Yeah, I don't know if I could play it on air. All right? Because we can play voice notes. Let me see. Let me try something.
Are you set up for take calls?
Yeah, we can take calls too.
Okay.
Let me see something. Takisha. So, hold on. Oh, what did I do there, boy?
But you know, listening to take into consideration what MP Charles said. I mean, there's a lot of things that I hope that people are paying attention in a way.
Yeah, so
They
Gary,
are
hold on.
restricted.
Hold on. Hi, Takisha, how are you? Hello?
Hello, good night, Anselm. I am all right.
How
Good
are you?
night.
Good night. How are you?
You hear me?
Yeah, we hearing you.
I am.
Welcome, sister.
All you know, every time a good night, everybody on the chat. All you know, every time it is I call into the program is always something pertaining to the government and the shippiness. I have children going to school, right?
Okay.
And school is about to open on the 19th of April. And the Minister of Education come on TV stating that they have everything in place for these children, these little children, to come out to school from on the 19th, no online classes and whatnot, right? But I have been through meetings for this last few weeks, right? And my son's school, I don't know if I'm allowed, or should I say the names of the schools and them on air, because I don't really want the teachers and them to get themselves in trouble.
Nah, don't say these schools. Don't say these schools.
But basically, Ansem, we as parents in some of these schools have to find money before the 19th to help remodel, refurnish these classrooms and them before our children come out of school on the 19th. My son, he's going to top school in Port of Spain, and the teachers is basically asking for 5 ceiling fan because they say since COVID strike and schools was closed for over 2 year period, the government stopped ACs and stop allow AC in the classroom, right? So basically they have to do a whole remodel in the classroom, which is break down a wall, put in windows and stuff, do over roof, and mind you, Anson, the school is about to open just now, because time is running. School need painting, classroom need painting, nothing in place for sanitation pertaining to dealing with COVID. The parents have to find sanit. Well, it's no that we know definitely that when we children come out of school, we have to buy sanitizers and stuff. But things like to supply the sanitizer machine operating in the school, parents have to buy these things. Parents have to buy Lysol to spray classrooms. And some parents who on the chat will agree with me, right? I think a Lysol is $100, right?
$100?
$100. $100, and some places you might get like Price Smart, and then you might get for like $90, $85 a tin. They ask for Lysol. They ask for Lysol wipes, which is costly too. They ask for microwave. They ask for printer. This is under the Ministry of Education. They ask for, besides ceiling fans, they ask for standing fans. And this is for a classroom I'm talking about. Other classrooms are also in the school and other schools because I have children going different type of schools.
So, Kisha, both schools, all these schools that your kids going to, are they asking for these things? Or is it just...
out of 3 of them, it's only 2 schools asking, 2 schools, and some is top schools and is under Catholic. And I don't want to give the name of these schools, but it's very sickening. And the reason why I sent you a voice notice was it's a begging. Actually, I'm begging. I'm asking. If no parent, because it's our children going out to school and we need our children back out there, which teachers can't voice their opinion because their work is being in jeopardy, will be in jeopardy, and the parents is their voice. Some parents may agree with me. I find that yes, the children need to come back out, but I find schools cannot open back in September, the way how things is running in Trinidad, how they take into schools, right? These children them have to come back out to school on the 19th, which is just now. They didn't give parents a time phrase like to give us a heads up, like give us a month before. Let us know exactly, because they didn't set a proper date. They all they keep on saying is that school is about to open, school is about to open. They didn't set a date. So just hold and behold, you just come, just as how they close the borders, just so hold and behold, that is what the P&M government does do. They just come just so because they love to dictate. Come on the TV, wherever they say, everybody have to go about what they say. If this is now for the now, it's now. It's for today for today. That's how they operate. After these children are locked down for 2 years, these children have to come back out dressed now. Parents have to buy school uniform. Parents have to buy school shoes because, mind you, the school uniform and the school clothes and the shoes, whatever, everything gets small for them. Right? So we have to purchase, we have to buy all this stuff for the children to go back out to school, right? Then school going on close in the next 2 months. So this is a fresh term coming out in September there. We have to buy over with books, book lists. You will have to buy because these children is growing. You'll have to buy over school uniform. You'll have to buy over school shoes because it's our children for growing, as how they're growing in size. And yet still, all you just come and say, well, come and open the school, and all you don't have, the school is not properly repaired for these children to come back out in these COVID times. And these parents now, after some of them lost their job, only have one person in the home which is working, either mommy or daddy. You understand? These parents have to find money now to buy this stuff for our children to go back out to school. And then we have to pay money now to give the teachers and them or the school principals to help have our classroom up and running. So I can't understand. I find they should stop budget in this country. I find they should stop it. Because when budget call with this guy Smiley man, certain amount of money does go in different ministries, right? And for health, for education. And it seems over the years, this thing keep reoccurring under the UNC, under the P&M, whatever party. Is because I have big children now. I was small going through this, and it's just a recycle. Nothing is going nowhere in Trinidad and Tobago. Everything is just a recycling. And if few people will come out and talk about this, everybody will shoo and keep it under low. They might talk amongst themselves, they might talk amongst their peers, but nobody's really getting to the bottom of this. And right now, it's very sickening because we have to pay $200 to have 5 ceiling fan, $350 for one fan. They need 5 fans in the classroom. 5 fans they need in the classroom. They even ask for parents who could volunteer to paint, who could do masonry, carpentry, who could do roof. Just imagine them, mind you, under the Ministry of Education. We as parents now, we want our children to go to get our free education because you know they will say free. And because you know this government always like to compare other countries, and if it was so and so, and if it was so and so, and if it was so and so, we'd have to pay. We're getting it free. We're getting our education free. Thank God for that, right? But why put budget? Why pass these budgets on them for this amount of money in this ministry, and the parents and them still have to do what the government under the Ministry of Education have to do? It's very unfair. So anybody who listens to the chat, I'm supposed to get a letter from the principal because I am going to beg. I don't have no shame because my son needs his education, my daughter needs her education, and these children are being miserable home. When I mean miserable home, the fed up of being inside. Some parents will agree to me because COVID, I don't have my children going anywhere. I don't have my children interacting with people. I don't have my children gathering. You understand? When my children go back out to school, it will come like freedom for them.
But Takesha, has the principal at all reached out to the Ministry of Education? I'm just asking, has the principal written it or reached out to the Ministry of Education?
Right? So the principal outreaching to the Ministry of Education on numerous times. It could be Mount Hope Junior Sec, it could be Belmont Junior Sec, it could be Rosary Boys, it could be Richmond Street, but I just give when you some of these schools, I'm not saying these schools, I just calling schools on the air.
Right.
And over the years, even when I was young going to school, every time for PTA meeting, the parents of the school, the teachers at the school always saying one thing over and over. The school need a fan, the school need AC, the school need a fridge, the school need a printer, the school need a microwave. I mean to say, if it fall under the Ministry of Education, any minister herself or he, or whoever it is, or even people from the officials from the ministry will go around in these different type of schools and know exactly what it is they need and what they need to get. You understand? So when Guy Smiley Emsburg, when he as the Minister of Finance and he passed this a certain amount of money in the ministry, under the Ministry of Education, they were now to divide up the money and get some of these schools under repair because it's ASAP. Now we don't talk about the toilets. Now we don't talk about the toilets because some of the toilets and them have no seat.
Well,
some of the doors swinging.
Well, you know something, Takesha, here's my solution. This is my humble solution to the problem. All right, because sometimes the only way you could get somebody to move something is by showing them pictures or showing them videos of something. So my only recommendation to you is to you and to the parents is to take pictures, take videos, and put it on social media. That part of the solution to the problem, because it appears to me just from listening that maybe they're not listening, maybe they don't know, or maybe they know and they don't care. So the only way you can get some problem solved is when they see it on social media and they start to go all over the place, they go get it done. That's my simple solution to the problem.
Right? That is a good idea, right? But it's been happening over the years. I've been seeing schools, I've been seeing people putting up things on social media about schools and what, and nothing is being done to it. Answer. People will only voice their opinion by going to social media, but yet still is who really taking you on in these type of ministries.
But Takesha, let me say,
who is really taking you?
But Takesha, let me say this, right?
When I get the letter from the principal, because I need a letterhead in order to ask around for donation, right? The parents request that, and when I get a letter from the principal of the school, I will forward the letter to you as proof to see that how it break down. Just a classroom, classrooms, and some I've been there to the school and I'm seeing what's going on. We have to volunteer to even paint, who know this, who know how to do this, to come on board. And we have to find this money to pay to help out for the classroom before the 19th of April.
Right.
So everything can be up and running.
Right. So Takesha, listen to this, right? I remember, I think it was Mount Hope, Lana and Mount Hope. So Lana had sent me a video with respect to Mount Hope. I posted the video on social media, and next thing, the president of the PTA of Mount Hope Secondary called me. I know she got my number, but she called me, right, in order to explain. And I need to find out from Lana now, what is the status of Mount Hope Junior Secondary? Is it Junior Secondary Mount Hope? Is it still Junior Secondary? Because I'm not sure. So the Mount Hope school, where they had some difficulties, I hope, based on those things that were posted on social media, they get some relief and from the things that they need to get fixed. And my thing, Takesha, you can send me the letter and everything, but I want you to take pictures, take videos, send it to me, and then I will post it on social media. Because that's, to me, that is the part of the way of getting them to do things in these schools.
But Takesha knows that. I always tell her that, to document stuff.
Yeah, document it and send it to us, and we go post it all over social media, and then I think then and only then, because sometimes people that say, oh, they only making, we Trinidadians, They say, oh, they're only making noise and they're doing this and they're doing that. You know, so I think the important thing to do, Takesha, is as soon as possible, get some pictures, take some videos, you know, send it to us, and we post it all over social media. You know, and I want to believe once they see it in the public domain, they're going to do something about it. So that
answer my will. I will, because parents are supposed to meet up in the school next week to see how soon they could.
Well, don't wait till next week, though. Takesha, don't wait till next week. Don't wait till next week. Try to get it done as soon as possible. Talk to the parents.
School have security, so they would not allow it in the school dress. So.
Oh, they will not allow you in the school. Okay.
It's not like you can bounce in the school dress. So now you understand? Things change up due to crime rate and stuff. Parents can't just walk into schools and think again.
Oh, okay.
And especially when it have nothing functional. Because remember, this is Easter weekend. School closing tomorrow, please God. So schools will be closed.
Okay,
So only how it is. Only how it is parents could get in these schools, unless if some of these schools under repair and parents give back. As I will tell you, answer man or two. That is why some of these schools and them, these high-ranking schools and them, they don't take on children who parents is not fully employed. When I mean fully employed, they're not working in a proper job. So when the time comes, because they know the Ministry of Education don't give them anything, the fella beg, very few times they will listen to them. So these parents and them who working in these top jobs or who have a stable work, they will take on their children in the school. So in case if anything happen in the school, they can void at these parents and they will give back and will empty their pockets in order to help what's going on in the school.
Yes, so
sometimes I just say, well,
go ahead.
What we have a Ministry of Education falling, and when it comes to these things, these simple little things, what fall under the ministry besides we getting our free education, things like repair is very few. And since what these schools and I'm talking about is over 50 years and more. And you as a child growing up, and you come and you get big woman, big man, and you go back in this school because who knows, your child might end up going to the same primary school you went to. And when you go into this primary school, you come, you're watching like nothing has changed. You can say that to yourself, but the same classroom, or they the same desk, nothing has changed. Most of my do is paint the outside of the school to have it say, well, we got a little painting. But when you take a tour in some of these schools, it's the same old flooring board and all too. Over the years, just recycle, everything just keep recycling.
So Takesha, let's try to see if we could find some solutions to the problems, right? And I think that if when the school opens back up, I mean, still send me the letter, and let's see if we could get some pictures and some videos when school open back up, in order to go to social media for it to post it. And normally, when those things go to social media, it normally gets to the Ministry of Education. And when the minister gets to the Ministry of Education, the Minister of Education will say, listen, we cannot have this in the public domain. Let's do something about it. So let's be proactive and do that, and let's see what happens. Because, you know, since school is opening back when, the 19th, you said?
Yes, in the 19th. The little children have to come back out.
Right.
The smaller children have to come back out.
Right. And today was SCA, right? Today was SCA, right?
Yeah, today was SCA. I was not watching on the TV one of the schools and I'm begging for right now. Or they're so good to have these children on the TV and they know why.
So let me
answer beside the money we have to contribute to get the classroom up and running during the course of the school term and all too. Parents have to pelt out $200 for maintenance of the school, because we have to pay for the maintenance of the school, like to pay the person who maintaining the school. First time in history, I don't be hearing these kind of things going on. What I want to ask the question, and other people in the chat will agree to me. What it is under the Ministry of Education, where direction the money does really fall under to go. The money don't fall like to me like it don't fall under maintenance or upkeeping of the school. You understand? Like parents or principal and teachers and them have to throw a little fund day or whatever it is to upkeep the school. The administrator fall under that part. Because I can't understand, Auntie, I'll keep on saying that, I can't understand and what too, especially school closed for over 2 years and they still can't get it right. Just so they can't get the feeling, answer the feeling in all the ministries. In all the ministries are failing. 2 years now.
But
2 years Thomas COVID, right? 2 years and more, and nothing. All you still can't seem to get right. Panadol still in the hospital. You can't get Panadol. Thing like Panadol. Answer. It might take up a whole day, and I know the program needs to go on. But when I get the letter, I will private message one of the teachers and them and ask her if she's willing to talk to you, so you will get a kind of breakdown of what is happening.
Well, we can talk. She don't have to put up a. We don't have to put up a picture. We don't have to put up a picture. We can just put up an avatar. She don't have to come. I mean, if someone wants to come and talk, they don't have to put up the picture because we understand what the consequences.
But they could also brief you privately, and if you want, you can offer them options.
Or they could send certain things that they want the people to know, and we could post it on social media to let the people know. You know, when anything we can do to help, we are willing to help.
Okay, answer. Okay. Call you. Have a blessed night.
Okay, thank you so much, Takesha. Take care. So Joan, thank you very much. Joan, it says it has no more junior secondary school. Everything is 5 years. Yeah. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right. Joan says, let me go back here. Gary, what's your take on that, man?
What's the take on what, answer?
On your on that education thing.
What do you mean with Takesha?
Yeah.
Well, you know, like listen to me. I always encourage her and everybody else to document everything so they can't say we're making up these things, all right? Making up these stories, all right? Because you know somebody's gonna come and try to refute it that never happened and it wasn't so and this like that. So Takesha know pretty well. I always encourage her to document things as she comes towards it, and you make contact with whatever situation. Document it so we have the physical proof.
Yeah, that is the advice I will give to them. In that, when you see this information, you know, take a video, take a picture, you know, and if
document
you get to know nothing, no feedback from the Ministry
and the second thing is to gather with the parents that have an issue, have a discussion, and say, well, listen, we have a platform that you can discuss it. You know, we are inviting you. We will, you know.
But Gary, in Trinidad, and I want to ask this question: does teachers in high school get, well, in colleges get tenure, right? Tenure is something where is that they can't just come and fire you just so. You know, I don't know if in Trinidad, if as a high school teacher, they could just fire you just so if you bring in.
Well, listen, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, a lot of teachers talk to me. There's a lot of things going on that people are afraid to talk about it, to jeopardize themselves. Sometimes they would mumble something and then suck back in and not say anything. I don't want to say anything. So we can give them the opportunity to discuss it off the record, encouraging the listening audience, if there's an issue, come together with your community, with your people, and let's address it. We have offered you this a platform again and again for the opportunity to bring the information forward. You know, so we will assist you in any which way you can.
Right. Nadia says, Ansem, school going good so far, but I don't know when school opens full because I'm working with students in school. I mean, Nadia, so what age group do you work with? I mean, you know, what age group do you work with? That would be good to know. I mean, I should have asked Takesha. Takesha, what age group or where are your kids in primary school? Are they in secondary school? You know, what school are they in? Vonnie Roberts says, Ansem, why Kamala has to prove anything? If she receives something in confidence, she must honor it. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. If she receives something in confidence, I don't have a problem with her honoring it. Hey, Joan, why are you quiet tonight? Joan says she quiet tonight. Ansem, all these old, Albert Montano says, Ansem, all this old talk happen in Canada, but the Mature Society don't take it on. See? And Albert is in Ontario too. Yeah, Diana is joining us late tonight, Joan. She has an audition and she's joining us late. So Vonnie Roberts wants to know why Ansem don't speak about Duke in Trinidad. The PNM go along, get along, gang mad. You should hear them on Aisha program today. Well, I mean, we talk about Duke, of course. We have that in there, We have that sitting down there waiting to talk, but we have plenty things we go talk about. Right? So hold strain. We go talk about that too. Right? Vonnie Roberts say, me too, Joan. I like I go be silent. Okay. Vonnie Roberts says, no one saying Marlene got off on one charge. I don't know. Joan says, Rowley's jumping, singing, and dancing, and he happy. Rowley don't care about nobody. PM Putin running Trinidad and Tobago cannot talk. Albert Montano. Albert Montano says, PM George Chambers once says Trinidadian are a bunch of complainers, so the government not taking people on. What? So because you're complainers, you're not taking them on. All right. Jones says no more junior secondary school. All right. Capiza says what? Them is still junior secondary. Jones just said there's no more junior secondary school. Albert Montano says Fatima St. Mary get help with Mayday Fair and Carnival fed by Old Boys Association. That is true, no? That is true. That's very true. What? Capiza says school is overrated. PNM proved that 24 months of pandemic and children bright like bulb. They're winning real scholarships. Okay. Bishop High School, Old Girls Fundraiser every year. Yeah, I know there's a party and there's a fundraiser for them schools and them.
Yeah, but the fundraiser is for extracurricular activities. This is the basic maintenance of the school. I mean, this could never be acceptable, Ansem. This is where your tax dollar pay for. We never seen these issues when we were going to school.
Yeah, I think it's just as primary school. I mean, I don't understand, but you have to understand, there's a lot of schools that have been closed down too as well. Piccadilly Government Secondary School, I know is closed down. St. Philip School, that school down by the highway down there, that closed down. I think Bethlehem School, I know if Bethlehem School still open, I think they're closed down too. There's plenty schools that have closed, and parents now have to move their kids from a situation where you can walk to school to now they gotta get transportation to go to school. It's my understanding that some of the kids actually were transferred to Nelson Street, and some were transferred to Belmont. So now you had to get from, like if you in John, for example, and you went to St. Philip's, you know how to go from John all the way up to Belmont. That's an additional fee a parent has to pay. So I mean, why these neighborhood schools is just gonna walk to school? Caris welcome. Yeah, so I mean.
So what is the Minister of Education doing? What is the Ministry of Education doing? Where is the funding? Why they come and acting like everything's so fine and dandy? We all understand we came through a pandemic situation, but mobilize, meet with the parents. Let the parents know. Listen, we need some help. We're in a bad situation. The ministry should. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't mind volunteering, helping to pass some paint if the government buy some material or whatever it is, and straighten up the place. But we all have to collaborate and work with each other. But we don't see that kind of leadership. We don't see that kind of leadership. None of us mind pitching in and helping out.
But Gary, this is my thing, right? Does the government take an inventory of all the schools across the country and what needs to be done in all the schools?
But let me tell you something. As far as I see, is a bunch of cluelessness to what's really going on here. Big talk, fancy speech, and you don't see nothing to back it up. When you talk to the people, it's a different story. It's a different story. That's why I always encourage everybody to document everything. Take pictures, send the proof. Contact the ministry. Send the pictures. Send us the pictures too. If they want to send the pictures to us.
Yeah, I think the one way you could deal with this stuff is through.
It's to bust it on social media, and they're running to fix it. They're running quick to fix it. And it's not just a matter of
That's
just PNM or UNC. It's have a kind of attitude on the ground that they don't respect people. You go to the police station, if you're not anybody too important, they really don't pay you no mind. You go to any services, it's a kind of attitude. If you're not a big boy or nothing, you don't get that kind of attention. If you're not anybody important. So they have to learn to respect our people and treat them equally.
Well, Gary, we see that Mrs. Kamala Prasad Besessa attended the Spiritual Baptist Liberation Day. So,
well, that's nothing new. I've always seen that, so it's nothing new to me, But
yeah, so and the new talk about is that it was Pandey who gave them the land to build their church. Right?
Yeah, well, we know Pandey give them this, Kamala give them that. What does happen at the end of the day?
But they say Barbara Brooke, I guess she's the leader of the Shouter Baptist. They say she said she's a UNC and she's not leaving the UNC. Because people were concerned that since the PNM gave them that celebration day, that they were concerned that she was going to leave. There was concerns from the UNC, but a lot of people saying that she's not a UNC, she's a PNM. But oh God, you know what? I just
listen to me. The people have to get that. We keep saying that they have to get that kind of nonsense out of their mind. If your party is doing nonsense or your party in power doing nonsense, you have to confront them with the issues. Deal with it as a Trinidadian. We use PNM, UNC, or ABC. We don't care about that.
Who don't care about that? The people in Trinidad care about that.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying, what does that resolve? You're being a PNM, you're being a UNC, you're being a PDP. And things happen in the country, things going wrong. You're not doing anything about it. You go back and vote back the party that's doing the wrong things and support it because of party and whatever reason you have again. You're not addressing the issues. You get dumb when things going wrong. Where's your voice?
But Gary, there was a I about country, boss. I about country, and so people think because I'm a supporter of the PNM that somehow I am not about country. I have never lied to people and say, well, listen, I don't support the PNM. I don't support a lot of things under this regime, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. I don't. And I have made it known the things that I don't support. Right?
But answer, there's a lot of things beside Dr. Rowley. If you notice, you have to really watch. There's a lot of stringent measures the PNM does put on the country to complicate things for people to progress. They don't put things in place to make it easier for you to get ahead. They always have you adding some additional restraint and laws and restriction. You can't do this and you need this and you need that, and they always complicate things. I noticed that with George Chambers when he became Prime Minister. Came up with this ECA form and you had to itemize everything and you put each item for a form and one set of nonsense. That creates so much of havoc.
But Gary, we go back again. It's the system. There's a system in place.
No, but the party is encouraging the system because you're seeing these kind of they are voting based on party and race and not what the performance is. They're stifling you. If a party is stifling you and making life difficult for you to get ahead, why you keep voting that? Because if UNC do nonsense, kick them out. PDP do nonsense, kick them out. But you have to take a stand and you have to pay attention to these things. You're falling for the little, galavant that take place and and you run and vote and you're not looking at the real issues.
So Gary, stick and stay. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM. We're going to go for a quick station identification. Folks, it's in the village with the DAG Triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m. From 7 to 10 p.m., 7 to 10 p.m. We're going to go for a quick station identification, and we'll be right back after this message. It's In the Village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9. Stick and stay.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
I see the government in this country should treat people more seriously when they have their parliament meeting. Something constructive should be happening. I visit them one evening in the parliament meeting. But what I see happening? Like these people high over podium, while the speaker speaking. In Parliament, the Kingston. Every week a newspaper reading. In Parliament, the Kingston. They want to stop all people from driving. In Parliament, the Kingston. And the long say show they making. In Parliament, the Kingston. Kingston all the time. Blowing everybody mind. Kingston all the time. Blowing everybody mind. I know this country have problems, and there's nobody to solve them. The opposition made it gross, so the big boys could play in the house. We can't get lights, neither water. Look at the situation with Wassa. They only making confusion, billing calls for horses to run. Why is the speaker speaking? In Parliament, the Kingston. Murray with Tobago flag flying. In Parliament, the Kingston. Champagne, they always arguing. In Parliament, the Kingston. They want to build cars for horse racing. In Parliament, the Kingston. Kingston all the time. Blowing everybody mind. Kingston all the time. Blowing everybody mind. Food stop or a shortage daily. Business places flooding in the city. Before they watch this thing seriously, the whole internet of money. Ready queue, ready pocket giving, and all of the members love. Why they are in a good time? We get you we royally time. Why is the speaker speaking? But we make it sweet kind of style away. So much of dirty water we drinking. We have a telephone and it's walking. The building for election coming. So the voter can be let in the kitchen. Every day, sicky playing. Nothing in the country walking. Mr. Speaker, sir, I really admire the behavior of the opposition. Shah and Monday, they are always fighting among each other. I believe they are really great lovers of themselves.
And of course, that's no other than explainer. In Parliament, they kicks in all the time. Right? They kicks in. Yeah, so let's get back. I saw a few comments here. Nadia says she's working in Takesha says it's primary school. What Joan says, hold on. So Nadia says, Ansem, I don't care about party, it's who doing for the country. I agree with that. Full 100. Oh God. Kapiza gave me credit, boy. Kapiza says, Ansem, you are part of the problem. Your voice may have influenced hundreds of thousands to vote for PNM. Partner, you gave me a lot of credit there, right? Carice says, Ms. Burke is a very nice lady. Albert Montano says, propaganda has been the strength of the PNM and everything. Hey, Chris Watson, good night. Joan says, UNC gave the Baptist the holiday land and school. She right with what she said. I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. But they're also getting a $10 million cemetery. Is that accurate? He offered them a $10 million cemetery or land with $10 million for a cemetery, and they still can't fix the building up in Chumacak, Lavento. Jones says all schools in Trinidad in terrible condition. Is it all schools? Or Takesha say yes, all schools, even the new schools they build. in terrible condition. Chris Watson says $7 billion a year for Ministry of Education in 6 years. That's $42 billion. And they still want money from parents. Shame, Anselm. The PNM is a failure. Time for them to disappear from politics. All right. Nadia says, John, oh yes, I'm working in a secondary school and you see how bad your roofing is. All right, there you go. Now, Nadia and Takesha, right? Joan too. Are there any good schools that has no problems? Any government school that don't have any problems in Trinidad and Tobago? That should be the question. Are there any government schools that don't have any problem? I want to believe that all these schools in Trinidad and Tobago cannot be bad. That's what I want to believe. Jones says PNM so bad-minded. UNC start building schools and PNM never finish them. Oh, good.
Well, that's something for a fact that we know. We know that for a fact. A lot of these schools were abandoned. Were the schools that was built by the PPG?
But Gary.
Remember Stark was going around videotaping all the grass growing over and they want to open the school, but several schools.
Yeah, I saw that. But Gary, you believe that all the government schools are bad? All of them? You want to ask me?
You got the people got to bring us some evidence on things that are going on. I mean, there's quite a bit of schools that are bad. I don't know. I mean, what schools? But when schools were shut down over 2 years, you know, shut down over 2 years. So a lot of work has been done.
But Gary, I'm saying that yes, there may be a lot of schools that need repair and are in bad condition. They need fans and so on and so forth. But I think there are schools in Trinidad that are good schools and don't need any repair. I want to believe that. That's what I want to believe. And this is not about party, this is about schools, right? I just want to believe that there are some schools that don't need any repair. I could be wrong, right? So Takesha, Joan, Lana, right? I would like to know that.
I am requesting for our listening audience, those who are listening to us, to submit some information. We don't want to go on propaganda. We know there's quite a bit of issues, but please bring us the facts. Take a picture, send us something, and let the parents out there know that we're interested in knowing what's going on, and we are trying to assist and assist them in addressing the issues. You know, we have to mount the pressure. Just how we mount the pressure for Chinese citizens, we're going to mount the pressure for the issues on the ground.
Yeah. Albert Montano says Explainer Calypso is in 1976 and nothing changed. Oh God. Joan said, Troy, why are you telling Wall Street that? That is not Joan, they can tell me anything, you know. Hey, look, my partner, come in, boy. Ulrich, where you been, boy? We miss you, boy. Anyone? So Capiza has a question. Anyone know if there's import duties on security cameras? Yeah, you gotta pay some import duties on that. You gotta pay import duties on that. So Jones says the college may not be that bad, but the primary and government secondary schools are terrible. Okay. So Capiza says, Anselm, ask the PNM minister and you will hear all these schools good regardless. Look at the pass rates and scholarship awards if government school performing academically. Right? Listen, we have to change that. We have to change that. Ms. Coover says Wall Street are not cleaning the schools. So listen. Or Ulrich said you always say by reading the text. Ulrich, maybe listen to this, right? Folks, this is my humble opinion, right? If the government is not doing what they're doing, the best way to do it is to force them to do what they're supposed to do. Yes, they're supposed to do what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to do it. But sometimes they don't want to do it. So the people have to stand up, and when you go to a school, here's my advice, right? Whenever you go to a school, you have your phone, right? You have your phone, take a video of whatever the problem is, go outside the school, take a video of the name of the school, send it to us, and we put it on social media. Simple. Simple. And you know that they are going to react. They are supposed to do their job without you doing that, but sometimes we have to do something. We have to help them to do their job. It shouldn't be like that, but we have to help them to do their job. Now, Capiza,
sometimes you gotta light a fire under them.
Yeah, you gotta light a fire under them. And
I did it here in the US. And I recently told you guys about what was going on with the elementary school. I got the parking done and everything. 10 years the principal was trying to get things corrected, and he wouldn't get no help. So I mean, I see no reason why. It takes a little some unity. We have to collaborate and discuss the issues and address it.
Now, let me be honest, right? I like to be honest, because I told you guys 34 years ago, before I got married, my mother-in-law told me, a liar has no memory. Anderson, good night. Right? Capiza says, Anselm, 43 years you're outside. Anything change in Trinidad under the PNM for betterment? Now, let me say this. What I could talk about, I could speak about Chumakak Lavantel. Right? I cannot speak about other areas because I haven't been to other areas. When I left Trinidad in 1977, Chumakak Lavantel building one apartment 2-1. And since I've been back to Chumakak has been worse under the People's National Movement. Let me repeat that. Chumakak has gotten worse under the People's National Movement. I lived, and I said this over and over, and I like to say these things over and over because I want PNM people that are listening to hear me. I came to this country in Newark. People didn't want to live in Newark. People didn't want to live in Bed-Stuy. I went to school in Bedford-Stuyvesant. They used to call it do or die Bed-Stuy. 1977 to 1978, went to Boys and Girls High School. People used to be scared to go into Bedford-Stuyvesant. And now, a brownstone back then was much $50,000 in Bedford-Stuyvesant. People didn't even want to buy it. Now you can't even afford a brownstone in Bed-Stuy. You can't even afford it. In Newark, it's the same thing. Right? Things used to be, you could buy a house in Newark for $30,000, $40,000. Now, when Newark has an house auction, you have a dilapidated house selling for $100,000 and $200,000 in Newark. And when I think about Lavantel, where I grew up, it's been worse. It's worse. It's gotten worse under the PNM, plain talk, bad manners. Right?
And so I've walked through TNT a few years ago, going down in the city or in Central or wherever, and the sidewalks dilapidated. They have big hole. You could just fall into it if you're not watching where you're going. You just have to be distracted a little bit. Big potholes in the road. I mean, somebody could bad drive and knock you off. There's so many issues. The place is very poorly maintained. I mean, when we were growing up, you still used to see some kind of road work going on. And, the paving the road, the building a sidewalk and stuff like that. But some of these things, it's like 100 years behind time. Some of these sidewalks. I mean, I've been to places doing the same thing.
Gary, no infrastructure development in Lavantel. None. Zero. Not.
The infrastructure development is in the waterfront.
No, it's the swimming pool.
Yeah, well, the swimming pool will come after, but the waterfront, that was the infrastructural development. And they bring Chinese and get them all the work.
And Takesha, let me say this, So I went with my bold self. I invite the Minister of Education to come on the program. Right? So I told her we on air Tuesday, Thursday, on Saturday. That was about maybe a month ago. And I told her, I said, well, they could, I think I was invited on a Tuesday. I said, can you come on Thursday? She said, no, I can't come on Thursday. And I gave her other days to come on. I said, maybe you could come on this day instead. Right?
Saturday would
That
be good.
Conversation went dry, boy. Conversation dry up.
Yeah. Well, I invited the Minister of Local Government, the new minister, and I re-invited, I believe it's the MP for, I don't know if it's Arima or somewhere close out there.
Yeah. Right. So
Lisa
Tikisha, we
Morris.
did invite the minister, right? We did invite the minister, and but them don't care for us in the diaspora. They really don't. I being honest, they don't care. They just only care when there's an opposition, and they want you to come and help them. Troy Smith says the government sent home MTS crew who maintain the schools. No wonder schools are in a mess. All right. Troy Smith. This is something that's dear to me, and I actually went to Hasty Crawford Stadium, and I went into the bathroom, boy. Oh God, boy, I almost cried. If I was Hasty Crawford, I would have tell them, take my name off that stadium. Seriously, take that name off my stake. Take my name off that stadium. That stadium is dilapidated. And the one stadium we have in Trinidad and Tobago where we could do track and field, when Carnival come, they're taking it over for Carnival. They're putting all kind of thing on the track. Right? Them don't care about athletes in Trinidad and Tobago. That is the only stadium that you can go and actually have a track to run on in Trinidad. Because let me tell you guys something. You see those other running tracks that they have in Trinidad? Otto Bolden Stadium, Larry Gomes Stadium. I don't think they have any one of the Arima Velodrome anymore. You see those tracks? Those are not actually running tracks. Those are jogging tracks. Those tracks were put down during the Junior World Cup there in Trinidad, and they put them down as jogging tracks. And also the one in but I think the one in Tobago, right, at the York, they call it whatever, the York Stadium, that one was redone, and that one was redone as a real running track, right? But the other ones, you go on that, you go get shin splint, you'll get Achilles problems, all kind of problems on them things. So we have one track, one good track in Trinidad. That's the Hasty Crawford Stadium. Hasty Crawford Stadium. Yeah, that's the best. Yeah. And they don't even maintain that. Gary, a friend of mine is trained up in the Queen's Park Savannah, and he sent me some pictures of the running track up in the Savannah. And when them guys just run, it's like the track, there is a canal marked off for the track. A canal marked off for the track, so they either run on the
and
left.
That is in Port of Spain, right in their face.
Right in the face. Right in the Savannah. Right in the Savannah. And government come, government go. They have done absolutely nothing about it. Zero. There used to be a sand track in the Savannah. I used to go train on that track all the time. Boy, that way I get a lot of my endurance from running in the sand. If you see that now, grass growing inside of it. Why?
And you've seen that throughout many of our various parts of the country. I mean, grass growing up on the fields and not properly maintained. You know, I mean, there's so many people out of work. You can't even make a little event and bring out the neighborhood. Like, up here in West Orange, we had a park cleanup. The mayor bring Nickelodeon out there. There was a little fun, some food, and everybody volunteered and helped clean up the park up in West Orange. Yeah.
And Gary, you're absolutely correct. We do a lot of things in the communities, right? Because sometimes, boy, if you wait for them, they ain't really go do nothing for you. But they themselves, like, they don't do nothing. Like, it's like certain things, boy, them don't even care about it, boy.
I mean, but the politicians have to initiate these kind of things. You're the leader, you got the lead. So you create an event, organize a little food, and you know, a man come and give you a little hand to do some things, and you know, you make it a nice little thing, you know. But you got to lead the way, you know. You got to lead the way.
Kapiza says, Ansem, you still have belly to support PNM, man. Join the UNC. Come over to the yellow side. All right, Kapiza. Joan says,
Ansem and the partner Dave Tanko, what they work order.
Hey, Joan Jadube says, Takesha, minister, will never come and talk. I wouldn't say she will never come and talk, but I think what they will do is that when it comes close to the election, they will come and want to talk. That's my thinking. That's what I think.
I'm trying to get a few more counselors in here. You know, I invited Akil again. Can't make it tonight, so.
Oh, you invite him?
Yeah, I invite him.
You know,
yeah,
Gary, okay, I think what I'll do, I'll lower my standards and I'll try to get PNM counselors. That's what I'll do.
No, because the local election committee, the counselors are very relevant. You just bring the counselors in. You know, whether it's, you know, get everybody to say what's going on with them, you know, the difficulties they're having, you know, what improvements, what's their plan of action for their community, you know. So let's focus on getting the custom. We'll get the MPs too, but the folks are already showed, let's bring the counselors in, you know. Local government on.
Takesha says parents even have to pay money for the persons crossing the kids, for the crossing guards then. With their stop signs, parents had to pay for that too. I thought that was
some parents need to go out there and volunteer and do that.
Why?
They had to have a school PTA. I'm not a school, a community PTA, not just the school. You know, you had to get something going like that, some kind of community thing.
Yeah. So
bring everybody together, not just one particular school, you know.
Yeah. Kenton Thomas, welcome. Kenton Thomas says, this is the point, Ansem. You are not well informed to even support your own party. So what is the logic in your support for the PNM? So what am I not well informed about? So help me now. Help me with that one, Kenton. You can clarify that. Now, John, this is where John, full 100. All the stadiums and playgrounds in a terrible condition. They want to talk about Anil Roberts, best sports minister. I don't know if Anil was the best sports minister, but I think Marilyn Gordon. If you go back to the days, Marilyn Gordon and even Jean Pierre was better sports ministers than Anil Roberts. Because Anil Roberts have a stain on his career as a sports minister, and that is live sports, playing talk bad manners. Right?
Well, you and I don't have to deal with this live sports because this thing was blown way out of proportion of what it really is. And you're still going along with the propaganda that is around it.
What propaganda? It happened.
But a lot of people come and tell you it wasn't as it said, and the figures wasn't as it was said to be. A lot of things. And also, a lot of those people involved in live sports were PNM people that you know. Yeah, it was PNM people. It was the same people hanging around Manning. You think it's UNC supporters were coming there? It was the same people, the same gangsters was around Manning.
Gary,
all right?
You are having the same rhetoric that people are having. When the PNM in power, they blame the UNC. When the UNC
was the same. No. I am calling it as I said. It was the same set of gangsters. It's the same set of gangsters that they try to.
Why did the UNC not give the gangsters contracts?
Well,
if you want to stop something, don't give them no contracts then.
But hello, didn't you hear what Rodney Charles said? They wanted to kill Kamala.
So, but if you're the prime minister, you could get the
because you know. Let me tell you something. The way the things have gone so bad, these gangsters are fully organized, fully equipped to threaten the prime minister.
So
okay,
Gary, that means
whether it's Dr. Rowley, and they connected with some of the members of the protective service too. So that is what makes it a little more difficult.
So Gary, that means to say that for the rest of Trinidad and Tobago in existence, we have to have gangsters who are getting contracts from the government. That's what we're saying.
No, we're not saying that. What I'm saying is they're calling the shots. They are calling the shots until we could
Okay.
train that. We could change that. They are calling the shots.
So Gary,
You
when
see
you
a few
mean
of
they
them
are
got liquor?
calling the shot, Gary, let me give you an example, right? I have been told the reason why the buildings in Chumakak have not been painted, nor has that building renovated or demolished, is because the gangsters up there want money for you to come in to renovate those buildings or demolish it or paint those buildings. That's what I've been
So
told.
they're
I don't know.
so they're charging a toll. They're charging a toll to pass through the
Is that
community.
tax? Is that tax?
Yeah, the tax. The tax is real. The
And you
tax is
agree
real
with
on
that?
the ground.
All right,
I
Gary.
agree with what I'm telling you. The tax is real. Them guys ain't playing.
All right, Gary.
They're
Okay, I
organized.
understand that. But Gary, the army has a corps of engineers who does the same exact thing. Why the army don't go up there and demolish or renovate the building and paint the buildings?
Oh, the army cannot go on their own. The politician in charge, the prime minister in charge, the minister of national security in charge have to call the shots.
And I agree with you. I'm not just telling the army to just go up there and do it on their own.
I could fix it. I could
Why
fix
don't the
it.
minister of national security, right? Because Gary, you know, in this country, every single day I pass on the streets and something had to be done, they have a state trooper at the beginning, they have a state trooper at the end,
in
and they have
the township,
a
But
police
what I'm
car in
saying
the
to
middle.
you, let me tell you something. These gangsters bring out the vote for these politicians, okay? This is no joke, all right? So they're controlling. You might see a little here and there thing going on where, you know, they arrest a gangster and they shoot this one, two little thing there, but that's not the real source, anything there. So, I mean, even remember Gary Griffith said that there was a shootout for a box crane contract, rift between two different gangs, and who get the contract and who didn't get it. So we allow this thing to grow in the country, to mature to the stage that it is. We encourage it. We encourage it for votes. We didn't really deal with it. So the thing has gotten so much out of control right now that they could threaten the government. Regardless of who's the government, they calling the shots.
Gary, my belief is that when you get into government, you should continue whatever projects if the last government started. Finish it. Rather than not finish it and leave it there and start similar projects. That's a waste of money.
We agree that we agree with that too. But the thing about what I'm telling you here right now, we have a situation on the ground where the criminal elements has grown so strong that we have to deal with it with a heavy hand. We have to deal with a heavy hand. I thought Dr. Raleigh would deal with it.
And you see, Gary, here's Chris Watson point, and this is it. Chris Watson hit the nail on the proverbial head. And Sam, the problem is when the UNC in power and government change, the PNM don't want to continue with their projects. And the same thing with the UNC. So that needs to change.
No, but let me tell you, what I saw happen, there were certain things, I mean, there are certain things should have continued, certain things I think they prioritized, which was much needed, like the hospitals, the schools for the children. I don't know what the issue is. We would have to get Anna Roberts to tell us what the issue was with the Brian Lara Stadium that Dr. Rowley went and finished and and fix it, or he fixed it and this and that, right? I mean, that at the Red House, I mean, you know, it was something it could have waited. We had other things that were more priority. We had a lot of schools that was built under the previous government that would have made it easier for children not to travel too far to go to school. They refuse. Up to this day, if you will see, you could get people to take pictures. The schools are overgrown by grass and things like that. So, I mean, these politicians, but the people have to step up. The people cannot allow. Is the people allowing them to get away with it? We live it all the way out here. Thousands of miles are making such an effort. What are they doing on the ground? We offer them a platform to come and discuss the issues. How many really came on here? How many people in the country? We few politicians came in. How many people in the country really came on and brought so much of the issues that they're facing?
But Gary, I went on the underground report. I'm in the ground report, and I get cussed.
Watch out for Anita.
Yeah, I
What's
see
up,
her. She's in
Anita?
the
So she,
background. Mrs.
oh, she's in
We
there.
see you. Yeah, Gary, they cuss me on the underground report. Cuss, level cuss, right? The Pompec of radio and Wordsmith. They tell me about. I tell them about pushback in all 41 constituencies if they're serious about country, right? I called this morning.
Right.
The man hung up the phone on me, and you see that? You see that in Trinidad?
Well,
That has
I
to
thought that's
stop.
your partner. I thought that's
Yeah?
your partner.
Them fellas my partner when we off air. But when we on air, them fellas don't want nothing contrary to their opinion. Right? They want to stay in their bubble. Right? When I call and I talk about pushback for 41 constituency for your country, them telling me we don't want to have a pushback up in Lavantil because we afraid to go up there and this, that, and the other. Then you're not for country. And to me, any radio station that's telling people if you are not pro PNM, don't call here, that is unacceptable. And if you're not pro UNC, don't call here, that's unacceptable. Any radio program in Trinidad allowing that behavior, that is unacceptable. I could never tell. Gary, I ever tell you who to bring or who not to bring? One person I tell Gary Mahabir couldn't come here. It was Vicky Rampasad because Vicky Rampasad was disrespectful. And I told Gary, Vicky Rampasad cannot come. Me had a lie. Gary, did I tell you that?
But you bring Rhoda Barrett, and Rhoda Barrett was just disrespectful. Anyway, let's bring in Anita. We want to deal with the issues.
Mrs. Anita, Mrs. I said Mrs. Miss Anita Haynes, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you all?
We are fantabulous. Thank you very kindly. You know,
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the
yeah.
invitation, as always.
I noticed you just putting up your avatar today.
Yes, yes. Today is just the avatar.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. You know, but it's
so Anita, how are you doing?
I am doing okay. I am doing okay.
How was your trip?
The travel was fine. You know, everything worked out very smooth. So I'm grateful for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Answer me. Go ahead. You want to say something?
so Mrs. Is it Mrs. or Miss? Is it Miss or Mrs.?
It's Miss.
It's Miss. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's available, brother. Wow.
You know, anytime
I
people
didn't
come into
say
the
that.
business, you know. Say that again.
I said I did. No, Gary said that, so that means I'm available. I said I didn't say that. I just said
Yes, yeah. I just wanted to be from a respectful
clear.
perspective, whether it's Miss or
Yeah.
Mrs. You know, to call people correctly. You know. So
Yes.
Miss Haynes, how are you
Yeah.
doing? And how are
I'm
things
doing
going on?
well.
How are things
I'm
going
doing
on
well.
how are things going in your constituency?
Things are. I had a couple meetings. I unfortunately had to attend a wake on Tuesday night because a person in my constituency, very very well respected community person, Mr. Faru, they found his body very suspicious circumstances, and that was, it's part of the job that no one enjoys, having to go to families with no words of comfort, really, because what do you say at a time like that? What can you tell people? So we go through day-to-day issues, but the reality is, especially as a representative, a member of parliament, you are in touch with so many people, and you see how much pain the things that we discuss in theory causes a lot of people in reality. And there's very little you can say and do at a time like that to comfort our family. So I mean, on Friday we would have been discussing crime at the parliamentary level, and then on the Tuesday I am comforting a family who would have been you know a victim of the crime situation as it is in Trinidad right now. So that's just the reality of being a representative at this time.
So now, Ms. Haynes, what is the story with pipe-borne water in your constituency?
So there are a number of areas with no access to pipe-borne water on March 20th, we celebrated World Water Day. And so I used that opportunity to highlight key areas, the Cotton Hill area where there is no access to pipe-borne water, the Curacao area where there's no access to pipe-borne water. And this is 2022, right? So I think we were looking at they have community tanks, and the frequency with which those community tanks are being filled is an issue. And I, again, having to deal with things that are basic, very very basic standard necessities for life, and persons having to come to my office to advocate for them to get pipe-borne water. It is really something to deal with. When you think about where the world is going, and we're talking about a digital economy and a technological age, and then some areas are literally still fighting for pipe-borne water. We also have areas that do have a pipe-borne connection, but the service is extremely unreliable, as in being without water for months. We're looking at areas in Forest Park, Grand Couver, Pepper Village, a number of areas where the service is just so poor that you have families investing in 4 and 5 tanks per household just so that they can maintain some regular supply when they do have water that they can store up. And so that's what we're facing in terms of water. I know you'll be aware of my infrastructural woes. We are still highlighting wooden bridges. We have a Fix Our Roads Tabaquite online campaign, a Connecting Tabaquite online campaign. So I'm using all avenues available to me to advocate for just a better standard of living. Later on this year, from my office, we've been meeting with farmers across the constituency, and we would be releasing, showing exactly how tabaquite is really the breadbasket of Trinidad, and what it would mean if the government would invest in our access roads, and what it would mean for food security for Trinidad and Tobago, what it would mean for food prices if we just placed sensible investments in people who would have already been doing the job and just need um, some assistance in terms of creating more accessibility via roads, and that's something that the government is expected to provide. So we're not asking for anything extra, we're asking for the basics to continue to provide and contribute to the development of our country. And so those are the things that I'm doing within the constituency, keeping in touch with the communities. I am hoping that as I go on in the parliamentary term, that we can move away from asking just for basic necessities. I think that undersells the value of my constituency, and start to talk about what we provide as a community overall, being the second largest constituency, but having produced, um, sports personalities of note, agricultural scientists, farmers, persons who are actively contributing to a better Trinidad and Tobago, and highlighting the gems that come from my constituency, and not just the difficulties that we are facing. We're going to move to that as well, as we continue to work as a community for a better overall country.
I would say, Ansem, and I keep reiterating that in the era that we're dealing with the issues here right now, food security is something of the highest order right now. I don't see the government have invested in agriculture as it should have, and up to this day and time, we haven't recognized how much we need to be involved in investing into agriculture in Trinidad and Tobago. I am really annoyed with what I've seen. I'm always seeing, this amount of money spent, but we don't see where the money going. And, it's the same thing with the police force, with the crime and that kind of situation. So, it's very frustrating, to see what's really taking place here.
Well, Miss Haynes, I listened to your contribution in Parliament, and two words actually, jumped out at me: unprepared and unequipped. You said that the Minister of National Security left no doubt that he's unprepared and unequipped for the job. How did you come to that conclusion?
Well, so I just want to clarify for your listeners and everybody. So Friday was Private Members Day. private members, they ends at 6 p.m. The leader of government business in the house can decide when they will adjourn, but according to our standing orders, it ends at 6 p.m. And so I came on with just about 9 minutes to make an introduction, but I have a full presentation in terms of what school dropouts would mean for the crime rates and what the government ought to be doing to prevent the situation from being escalated. However, I am a debater. I've always been a debater, so you have to start by responding to previous speakers. And so the reason I said that is because I sit in the chamber for the entirety of our parliamentary debate because because I trained parliamentary debate and I was president of the debate society in school and that sort of thing. I always listen to every presentation because that informs a lot of how I take my contribution later on or whenever I'm called upon to speak. And so the Minister of National Security, I think, on a motion on crime, had a responsibility, a duty to report to the nation what has been done, how it has been working, and what pivots they will make if indeed the plans or the things that they would have been doing for 7 years. Because the exister who sits in the seats of the Minister of National Security is irrelevant to me. As a citizen, as a parliamentarian, that is irrelevant to me because the policies are a continuation of government policy. So I am unconcerned with the personality and very concerned with the policy. And so when the minister got up to speak, and if you listen to his contribution in response to Rodney Charles, the MP for Naparima, it was so vacuous. It was full of pure rhetoric, and it showed me, and that's why I said he was unprepared and ill-equipped for the job at hand because it wasn't the first time. In the debate on the state of emergency, I had to say it again. It is clear that he has forgotten that he's the Minister of National Security, and I understand, Pekong and the need to put some life in your debate, but that can't be the entirety of the thing, especially if you hold responsibility for a ministry and you have a reporting function. There's a reporting and accountability function as any minister would have, as any representative would have. Just like when I came onto the program tonight and you asked me what's going on with my constituency, what I'm doing, I am able to report what we are doing, where it's going, what changes we have to make. That's an accountability function. And the minister has never been able to hold up his end of the bargain by coming to say to the population, these are the government's policies. This is what we found worked well. This is what has not worked well. And these are the changes we're making, and this is what we're keeping. And this should keep us safe, but give it time, or if we need time, or if we need more resources, or whatever we need. But address the concerns of citizens. And all we get is rhetoric, we get Pekong, and we get absolute nonsense. And that's the reason I opened my debate that way, because I think it is disrespectful to our population to have persons who are elected into positions, who hold positions on the executive, incapable of accounting to the population about their duties, and that's why I said what I said on Friday.
Now,
one of the things I go ahead.
Well, Gary, go ahead.
No, what I see here, Ansem, is that all the debate about bills and passing this bill, and we need that bill and that bill, but what is not being looked at carefully, and what we need is the improvement of the level of services delivered by the police force and how the police force is managed. And this is a serious issue here.
On that point, Gary, and I'll say this, I've been very consistent with this message, because it is my genuine belief system that for far too long, there's been a concerted effort to convince the population that the solution to crime is legislation. And I said that in my opening as well, and I said it during the evidence amendment bill, and I said it when we were discussing the deaths of young women in the country last year, and that if you think about it, very logically, if you apply clear logic to it, which criminal sits down and says, that is against the law, so I'm not going to do it? Then you're not a criminal. Criminals break the laws. They do not care what laws are on the books, right? If there are no consequences for your action, if you cannot, when you go from not just an arrest to a charge, but to a conviction, to serving a sentence, etc., then you are not accomplishing anything, because criminals are not dissuaded by the laws. So we can pass 100 laws, they will break 100 laws. It's very basic. However, there are things that the executive can be doing to keep our nation safe. There are simple things that we ignore time and time again. Things like proper public transportation. If proper public transportation is available, then you have fewer people using PHTAs. You have fewer people walking around because you have a safe way to get to and from your job, from your home. If you have well-lit streets where I'm not calling 6 and 7 times to change a bulb on a street light, then you have a deterrent because you're not walking through dark, unlit streets. If you have proper road management, so they are in these bushy areas where you can dump bodies and not find them. These things are things that you aren't ever thinking about it in terms of keeping a society safe, but they absolutely matter. They absolutely matter. You talk about inputs into the education system, and you talk about conflict resolution. How do you deal with these things? And you start that at an early age. When I'm talking about student support services and the fact that you've cut student support services, you've cut guidance counselors in schools, and that will have an impact on us in the future. They ignore that as a safety issue, but it is, because you are taking away things that can help us in the long run. You are not providing things that can help us in the short run. And then you are telling us the reason we have high crime is because we don't have enough laws. Criminals break laws. That cannot be logically true. And we need to stop doing that disservice to our population. Laws are not the answer. Proper, well executed policies are the answer.
But the thing about it is, like I said to Faris publicly on social media, and you must have seen my comments, that you could take those laws and paste it on every lamppost and billboard, and that wouldn't have an effect. What we need also is that we need a strategy. We definitely need a strategy to include civilian with the police, and where the army comes in. I mean, we bring the army where we necessarily are, but the patrol, and we have to work on every deterrent possible. And the thing has gone too far where we cannot go after this in a half-hearted manner. We need to be more fully forceful in what we do and more consistent. Did she drop off?
No, she coming back. She come back.
Okay. So, so this is what I'm seeing here is a lack of emphasis on the preventative. And the preventative includes all those things that Anita was talking about. The educational thing, the community support, but also we need the management of the police force fixed. We need the management of the resources deployed. I mean, you have an incident or something happened and the police don't have a car. This is still going on, and after all the money and the 200 motorcycles donated to the country, we don't see where that is going. So the emphasis has to be on the police force, delivery and management, and engaging the population and the community to come on board with assisting in the deterrent.
And things like that. Things like what's going on with the resources to the police service, what has been done, what has been allocated, what has been spent, where we're at. Those are things that the minister could have reasonably reported on in his debate, using his 45 minutes wisely and respectfully to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I say this almost every time that I speak. People are looking on. You are not speaking, even if you feel wrongly that you can disrespect members of the opposition. You don't have to answer to us. You are not speaking to me as a member for Tambakit. You are speaking to the over 28,000 persons who reside in that area that are, well, who are, and that's just the persons who are of voting age or registered to vote, but everybody else, you are speaking to all 1.4 million Trinidadians and Tobagonians, and so you have to do that respectfully. Account for your duty. Tell us where you've spent money, where you intend to spend money, where it has worked, where it hasn't worked, and then we can have productive conversations. But you coming to tell me about things from how many years ago, and then you reminded the population that you've been there since 1995. 1995, I was in primary school. Imagine you spent all of this time in and out of government and you've made so insignificant an impact to the population that you have to remind us how long you've been there, but you can't tell us what you've done in that time.
But
It is very
I have a few
disrespectful.
questions for him also. In reference to the Paria situation. Where was he? At what time frame was he informed? What did he do to help the situation? And we recently saw where the diver
Gary, we're getting
was sick.
feedback from you. Gary, we're getting feedback from
Yeah.
you.
Let me switch device.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So Miss Haynes, a question from the chat, right? Someone says, Takesha said, Miss Haynes, do you agree with school opening on the April the 19th?
I believe that we have come to a point in time where we have to look at getting our children very safely back out into a school environment. I think that the insistence now of going back to the status quo and pretending that the last 2 years did not exist, so that we've learned nothing from the pandemic. We will implement no improvements from the 2 years that you would have had to incorporate digital learning, that you would not seek to improve technology and communication, that you could not look at systems of rotation to maybe ease the children back into the system and allow for more social distance. And I think what I disagree with is a return to the status quo, to a 2019 era. Like the last 2 years did not exist, but I do believe our children need to safely be back out, be with their peers. I think that's an important part of development, but we have to prioritize their safety. We have to prioritize their mental health. I think very few people, because children are so resilient, very few people have given sufficient enough thought to what pandemic years has done to the younger ones in our society. It could not have been easy for them to understand lockdowns and social distancing, and then coming back out. And I think we do need to think about those things, and we need to properly resource our system so that our children, while they are very, very resilient, are getting the best, most effective system possible. And so I think the ministry has been absent on data, absent on reporting to the population on the data that they have collected. They have, again, very disrespectfully, not given us sufficient enough information to ensure that parents and teachers are comfortable with the system for April 19th. And if you improve communications, if you improve the same accountability function, you'll get better results. But yes, I do believe our children should be back out to school. But again, let us not pretend the last 2 years did not happen. Get some improvements into the system, focus and emphasize the technology, get our children into the digital age, ensure there is equitable access, ensure that, God forbid, something again were to happen, that we are more prepared, better equipped, and we are not just going back to business as usual. I think that is unfortunate and not well thought out at all.
But my question is, we were under the pandemic. The kids were out of school for 2 years. What did we do in the school system to improve the conditions of the facility and to put things in place?
Exactly. I mean, and you're talking physical infrastructure, but I am even talking beyond the physical infrastructure. What would have been done in curriculum development? What would have been done? I mean, there were so many opportunities. There are so many opportunities to innovate the system, and we just, pumped the brakes, took our children out of school, put the physical system, the paper-based system, we just threw that online. We did nothing to innovate the system, nothing to make our children more prepared, more equipped to come out, and because they will be participating more heavily in a technological age, in a digital economy, and we are not equipping them for that. And so you are going to see in the future more unemployment, more underemployment, because we are not keeping our education sector in line with what the workforce needs. And so you are creating a problem for the future because you are of your unwillingness to innovate right now.
Well,
So,
that innovative skills lacks throughout, So my other question is, what I'm suggesting also is that is why it is that we cannot fully equip the school with Wi-Fi, because a lot of kids can't get Wi-Fi where they're located at this point. And if we have the school fully equipped with the Wi-Fi, they could come there and use it as a homework center after school. That could be utilized by the community for adult education programs. So if we fully equip the place there, it's already built. Why we can't do these things?
so Ms. Haynes, just hold that thought for a minute. When we come back, we're going to answer Gary's question regarding the Wi-Fi, in the
No
community.
problem.
All right, just hold that. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We have the MP with us from Tabakit, Miss Anita Haynes, in the village tonight. Stick on stays in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. That's 7 to 10 p.m. Stick on stay. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
We are back with you. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. And we have with us in the village tonight the MP for Tabakit, Miss Anita Haynes. Go ahead, Mr. Anita Haynes. Gary was talking about Wi-Fi in the community.
Yes, I mean, again, that's a very basic, very simple thing to solve. I advocated very strongly for not just the MiFi devices, but mobile hotspots or community Wi-Fi spaces, especially during the pandemic, to give my rural communities a fighting chance. But yes, to answer why isn't it possible, it can only be an absence of the will to get it done. Because it's very possible. It's not a difficult thing to get done. It just hasn't been done. And so once you get the proper will by the executive to get it done, those things are very easy to get done.
So you had talked about the CXC, right? The CXC is in May, and you were thinking that they should push it forward instead of having it in May.
No, what I said, and that's why I try to be very clear in my language. I've had a number of parents reach out to me. They've been trying their best to contact the ministry to no avail. They have asked me to advocate on their behalf. What they're saying is that the Ministry of Education in Barbados and in Guyana, and even in Jamaica, would have been advocating for their students, talking about the ability to get the school-based assessment done, the timeline, getting the exams done safely, etc., etc. And we've had no similar advocacy from our Ministry of Education. And so what I've called for, and I continue to call for, is a proper engagement of stakeholders. These parents and children, those students are young people, are very able to advocate for themselves. They can let you know what they've done. And I've asked the question in Parliament, read the curriculum, and the minister spoke about learning outcomes, etc. But if we are realistic, CXC is still based on the syllabus and your ability to get the syllabus done. If you were not able to complete the syllabus, you are not going to be able to successfully take the exams, and they've been in and out of school. And so whether the decision is to push back the exam or to tailor the exam to what all students regionally have been able to reasonably complete by way of the syllabus and the curriculum for the CSEC exam, then let's discuss that and advocate for that because it's a sensible thing to do. But if you have no discussion, if you don't know where these parents and students are coming from, then you can't advocate on their behalf. And that is the role of the ministry, especially for CSEC because that's a regional exam. And the silence from our Ministry of Education has really impacted the that situation negatively. Hello,
I'm still like Ansem dropped out. Do you hear me, Anita?
I can hear you. Yes.
Yes. So I mean, I mean, some of these things are so simple and common sense things to do that I don't see why it is that we cannot get the basic things done, for the community and making things and enhancing people's ability to function and then making things a little bit more safer. What we're beating around the bush and all kind of song and dance in the parliament. We have watched, about this bill and that bill, and the simplest thing that we do not seem to have an ability to sit down and address it. And this is very frustrating to see what's taking place.
The issue is that the government has continued a narrative that everything they want to do is just a little bit out of their reach because of this situation or that situation. Whether they blame the pandemic, they blame the opposition, they blame all sorts of things. But there are things that they can get done and that they just haven't. And they do not wish to have the population focus on what can be done, what can be done quickly, what can be done effectively, if they wanted to improve the lives of citizens. But I guess there is no political will to improve the lives of citizens. And that is why we are facing hardship across the board. That's not to be, that's not just a negative sentiment because I'm a member of parliament for an opposing party. It's the truth, right? Overall, persons everywhere have been complaining about roads, drainage. I mean, your most basic things, your more access to jobs, um, rising overall cost of everything. All of these things, you are earning a living, you're earning an income, but you are barely able to live. And so all of these things are severely impacting our citizens. There are creative, sensible solutions that can be done from an executive level. And this is why I always urge the population when you are thinking about elections and when I get very upset when I hear everybody say, everybody's the same or politician, but we are very deliberate in the United National Congress to present our plans in the education sector, in the economy, in national security, so you can evaluate us based on what we intend to do once we get into government. The PNM does not campaign like that. They campaign via peacock and old talk and rhetoric. And then therefore once they've won, there's nothing that you have to hold them account to because they've never promised to do anything or not do anything. They just said, elect us because you want to, and that is what we're facing right now. There were no plans for the economy, no plans for the agriculture sector, no plans for the education sector, and we are seeing that played out in front of our very eyes right now.
What I'm saying, I don't know if it's accurate to say that they didn't have no plans, but they had a manifesto, and they might have followed.
Did you look at the manifesto?
Yeah, I did.
Well, I also looked at the manifesto, and when I read it through, if I had to pull out concrete planning versus fluff language, remember I spent my entire life in political communications, right? So saying something like we intend to improve the education sector over the next 2 years by using government investment, that says nothing, right? That does not tell us what you intend to do. Everybody should intend to improve the education sector, and so that's what I mean. Yes, they had a manifesto. But if you broke it down into deliverables, what they were there was also a wide banner. We intend to digitize and part of that is the creation of the Ministry of Digitization or digital transformation or whatever it is. Okay, yes, you've done that, but what has that done to impact the digital improvement? It hasn't done anything, and that's why I'm like, I really urge the population. This is across the board, have a very discerning eye. Start to go through things in detail because it impacts all of our lives. Be very critical. Start to read the fine print. It is so important. It is so critical that we evaluate the things that are being presented before us. And I hold my party and the UNC and myself to the same account. All right, I'm not saying that do that for them, but don't do it for us. Go through it, and that we went through a lot of pains online, video versions breaking down each sector, and so that if you didn't feel like reading, you could listen audio versions. I mean, we've done, and I am always. That's why I will always be very proud to be a representative of the United National Congress and what we have done in terms of political campaigning over the last times in terms of the presentation of policies. And hopefully over time you can get to a space where you have a population that is so invested in critically evaluating the information presented to them and not being so easily distracted by things that ultimately do not matter to us and the population.
Well, I'm happy to hear that you are very balanced in telling individuals don't just be critical of the PNM, but also be critical of the UNC and go through the document and all the information.
But you have to, because that's the only way you make an informed decision.
What I'm saying is, that's not the way it is, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that's why you use the platforms to advocate for things that will ultimately be better. I mean, I know what exists, but I am not one. I've never been one to throw my hands in the air and say, well, this is the way it is and this is the way it will always be. If I believed that, I would never have entered politics. Never. I would have really done something less time consuming and stressful. But I do believe that things can change and things can get better if you are so fully invested in creating a better country. I genuinely believe that. So I'll continue to do the work to ensure wherever I am, I will do that work.
So Ms. Haynes, on that line, right, talking about a better country, right? I believe that you support country, right, over party. If the party is not having the right policies for the country, right, I don't believe that you should be stock and barrel if the policy, if that person believes that the policy of the party is not the best for the country. So I want to say this, right? Your leader said, and I'm quoting now, you say you support country before party, then go to hell. If you cannot be loyal to your party, how can be loyal to your country?
Yes.
I have great difficulties with that because it's telling me be loyal to your party rather than be loyal to your country.
This is where context becomes very critical. This is where, and I mean, I know exactly what happened there, where persons pull one line out of a speech that's directed very specifically. That line was not a line that was for the general public, everybody that was listening. That was in context to specific persons and what they would have been saying and doing in the public domain, right? And she was pointing out a certain level of hypocrisy for persons who were looking at potential leadership positions within the party, but saying one thing and doing another thing. And then persons took that line, absence of any context whatsoever, and created a different narrative. And that's why I said be very, very discerning and very, very critical, because you could pull several lines from thousands of speeches from Mrs. Prasad Bisesa where she talks about putting your country first and how important it is to build our country and put God first and put your country and deal with the issues facing our country. Those also exist in the same context. So I understand, but I want to be very clear that was not a general comment. It was a specific comment to specific individuals who have been in the past seeking party leadership and then doing things that would have been a disservice to the party that you are seeking leadership in. And so it was not general, and I don't think we should take it as such at all.
So Ms. Haynes, with that perspective that you just give, right? So then they can say the same of me, right? So I'm a supporter of the PNM, right? And I took a stand were for exile and stranded citizens, which is for country,
Mhm.
as opposed to the
Mhm.
stand that the party took, which was against exile and stranded citizens. So I fall in this
Mhm.
category here that Mrs. Kamala Prasad
Well,
Bissessa is
no,
talking
but they
about.
may be very well saying the same thing about you and the stance that you took. But what I'm saying is that is again, let us not party politics exists as it is, right? But
Mhm.
there's been no move to kick anybody out of the party, to remove them or remove their voice. That was an internal discussion via platform, right? That and so it is not a question of whether or not the stance you took. And so you can relate yours to a very specific issue, and that's how that issue affected very specific persons. The statement Mrs. Prasad Bissetto was making was not about advocacy on a specific issue, It was the attendance at certain events that were against the UNC's candidate for an area, and then say branding it as saying you were putting country first. But if you evaluated it clearly, it was a political move as opposed to a nationalistic move. And that is why I always say again and again, let us evaluate things critically. And we will realize that we get so caught up in sound bites and so caught up in the emotions of an era that we are never able to make logical decisions about, because you, like you rightfully said, if you take a stance, if there's a stance that you say, listen, locking citizens out of our country, wrong, abhorrent, you are a citizen, you belong, sure, and that's against the party stance, okay, right, but that is fundamentally different from attending a political event and saying that you are doing so because you support country and has nothing to do with being anti-party. Fundamentally different things, because what's the policy? What are you supporting? What are you suggesting? What are you hoping to grow? Why do not lend that same support across the aisle because you are hoping to build a country? Why not do that? So there are many options, right? And as like I said, I when we were talking about it before, when we go into the nuts and bolts of it, for me, is that even what is the material impact of of this discussion that we're having on overall lives as citizens? Very little, but it will take us. I mean, I know that it'll carry us far and wide, but for me, the more important discussion would be those politicians who have spent years of their lives in this space. Are you putting yourself in a place to be proper mentors, regardless of for whom? But are you looking at persons who are interested in public life, whether they hold a space now or they don't? Are you doing proper mentorship? Are you lending your expertise in a sensible way? Or are you making very deliberate political moves for whatever specific gain for yourself and then branding it as country first? That's the things we have to think about.
But
I-
this is what I saw happening in the parliament with the government. Certain things take place in the country, and it wasn't in an UNC in a PNM area. It's in a UNC area, so the response was not effective. They went about like it was like it didn't happen at all, or it's the UNC problem is Mrs. Bisesa problem, and not the government problem. We've seen the issue with the fishermen who was ambushed in the sea in Orange Valley there. We had the issue with the divers recently, which was very poorly handled. The government was missing in action. The Minister of National Security was on the ground in the country, and he was missing in action. We have some serious concern. I have some serious concern about why the Coast Guard pointed guns and obstructed those who were trying to assist in the rescue. Why we didn't support the rescue, and why wasn't the Coast Guard, with the number of years we doing this type of business, why they didn't enter in our imagination that we have to train our Coast Guard and equip our Coast Guard to respond to underwater rescue and such things like that. So I have a lot of questions and issue with how the way things went down.
you and the population at large, right? That Paris situation has really entered into the psyche of the nation, and I can't think of any person that I have met who has not been moved to tears by what the ordeal that the families and those divers would have gone through, and the accountability on this issue is so critical because we're thinking about life.
But not only that, overall looking, right, whether it's Paria or Brett or the response and preparation for the government to respond, it is mind-boggling to
Correct.
see the lack of preparedness, the lack of interest, the lack of presence, lack of visibility of the government taking action. You have the cuss and fuss to get somebody out there. It's like, it's very frustrating for us to watch this taking place in our country, and we are just trying to make efforts in getting things done and change, and that we are more organized and prepared. You've seen you always see the government act like that's a UNC problem. It's not their concern.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, absolutely, we have to be more prepared, and you have to have more forward thinking in terms of how you develop policies around health and safety, well, OSHA, as it were. But we're dealing with all of these things now after the fact, and I think it needs to be a watershed moment to make sure things are done differently, and not have us saying going back to business as usual. I find for far too long something will happen, the nation will rally behind it, and then time will pass and we will go to business as usual.
I like I said, what I'm seeing here is we have not come to the conclusion that we need to come together and discuss a plan of action and put things together. It's a bickering and political, galavant, and I don't see the understanding with the government that, listen, we need to talk about it, we need to address this issue. How do we fix it?
Mm-hmm.
So Miss Haynes, Lana says, Miss Haynes, just now is rainy season. What's in place for flooding?
Well, for I having taken office in 2020, when I opened my office in September of 2020 after we were sworn in, I was met with significant flooding in the Gasparillo area and a number of other areas. And so from the dry season of 2021, I have implemented what has now become a standing meeting with drainage officials out of the local government and Ministry of Works, and we map out what needs to be done and what has already been done in my case in the dry season, so that we are as prepared as possible for us. So across my constituency, I obviously cannot speak for the government or anybody else in this instance, but for my constituency, we have been in touch in terms of the clearing of certain watercourses and the work that can reasonably be done during the dry season. We do have some other matters that are outside of the control of the corporation, and in the control of the Ministry of Works, that have not been addressed sufficiently, in my opinion, as a member of Parliament. But we are treating with those. But as far as possible, we have ensured that what was within our power to have cleared, we have done, and beyond that, we will embark over the next month at the end of April, going into early May, on education and sensitization. So we let persons know things like where you can get your sandbags, where you'll access any kind of flood relief, because certain things are an act of God. So you can be prepared as possible, but if we get, a series of very torrential rain, we do need to be prepared for any unfortunate circumstance. So we have those things in place by way of an educational campaign, so that citizens can know where they can access certain services, and we roll that out at the end of April.
So someone else asks, Ulrich asks, Ms. Haynes, are you in support of Gary coming back as Commissioner of Police?
I am in support of a transparent and effective system to ensure that we have a commissioner of police that is effective for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and the kind of shady dealings that went on in the last instance must never, never happen again.
You answer that question like a real politician there.
I answer the question truthfully. Listen, the process is very critical because these people, all of the people that we have going up, they will come and go, right? Persons will come and go. But if that system is flawed, we will always have a problem. Or we will come and go. I may not even be around if we allow this system to continue like that. We will always have a problem. Always.
But Ms. Haynes, haven't the Police Service Commission changed the policy in that you have to now be a certain status?
They have announced changes in the requirements. That does not mean changes in how, once you've met those requirements, how you are evaluated and how the list is created and whether or not everybody has a fair and equal and equitable chance in the absence of political interference. That has not changed.
Now, here is a good statement. This is a statement someone makes. Lana says, manifesto is just something before the fact. After election, how much in the manifesto is accomplished?
And that is where citizens must really recognize what their power is, right? Because if you have elected someone based on what they have presented to you that they would do, then you can hold them account on that. You have local elections, you have internal party elections if you are so inclined, you have general elections, you have opportunities to have your voice. But if you don't know why you elected them, or if you elected them based on reasons other than policy, then you have nothing to hold them to account to. And that is where citizens must recognize their power. And I agree, words on a paper can have no effect until persons start to recognize their rights to hold persons to account. And then you'll get the difference.
Right. So Ulrich followed up that question because I think he believed that I missed the question, Ms. Haynes. He followed up with the same question that he asked about Gary, that you answer very politically correct. You know, he says,
but,
are you support?
far as Gary's concerned, right? Far as Gary's concerned, let me tell you something. I haven't seen anybody who has the innovative skills to manage the police force and the kind of contribution.
You answer the question from Ms. Haynes now?
No, I am just telling you right now. So you guys like to bash Gary and
he is lending his support, but I mean, until I support, he is backing a particular person, and I am backing an equitable process.
I understand I understand what Anita said, but what I'm saying, I want to add to it here is that what I am looking for is persons with the innovative imagination to manage the police force and to upgrade the police force to a certain standard and level of performance. I don't see looking in from here, I don't see persons within the force have that kind of capacity and capability like how Gary did. So, so this the kind of contribution he made.
Gary, how do you know that? How do you know the people's capability in the force, in the police force? You don't know that?
I don't see, but what the government has put into place, they has that innovative skills. They have demonstrated that. You see what has happened so far with the police force?
But it's politics. It's politics. Who comes the police commissioner? In my estimation.
All right, but what I'm saying, I'm just throwing out what I am looking for. In that, I understand Anita's point, and I do support her in that statement that she made, that we want a certain system set in place, that there's no interference and there has to be a proper structure. But also the fact that the kind of capacity and capabilities of Gary Griffith, I don't see that being delivered in the police force with anybody right now. So, and this is where putting country first, because we are interested in having an effective management in the police force. You're not just throwing somebody in there because they're within the force.
Well, Gary, you don't have to worry about anything, because when Gary Griffith forms his party, he's going to be going up against the UNC as well. So, you gotta make a choice then.
Well, that's a different horse. We're not really talking about that right now. I'm talking about what I see as necessary in the police force. We have all the back and forth with the legislation going, and nobody and the government don't seem to want to address the issue with the management and what we need to do with the performance level of the police force, versus all these bills that they're drafting, which is not going to make any effect. So I want to bring a consciousness about the level of the police force and the service delivery. That is what we want.
So, Miss Haynes,
Yes.
what is the status of the wooden bridges in your constituency? I know there are many wooden bridges. What's the
It
status?
is a constant thorn in my side. That's the status right now. Listen, I've had the unfortunate circumstance of seeing residents pool together their hard-earned resources to buy planks to repair a wooden bridge because it is so necessary. I have been in talks, with the former Minister of Local Government, and I have to now write to the new Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, and I think that specific part of that ministry has never been in focus. Rural development, that if you effectively operationalize that area of the ministry, we would see a lot of improvements by way of the wooden bridges. But residents are now at the point where they're spending their own money to repair the bridge, because if the bridge goes away, if the bridge collapses, the entire community would be cut off. And so we are currently in talks to try to get that Lightbourne Bridge replaced. We cannot keep replacing planks and railing every time something goes wrong. The wooden bridge should not exist there. It is a main thoroughfare. It connects several communities to the highway. And so there is that. We have a number of bridges. We have some wooden bridges in the Mamoral area, in Tabuki, bridges that access very significant agricultural communities. I'm making some progress. Unfortunately, as quickly as something gets done, something else goes wrong. And so if we get our mandate to say we'll get 3 wooden bridges replaced each fiscal year, at least then I can report to my constituents that we have a system in place where this problem will be systematically corrected, and not that we're waiting for a bridge to collapse before something can be done. And so that's my situation. I have been writing and in phone calls with the line ministers responsible, and hopefully we get the work done as quickly as possible. But residents should not exist like that. It is very ridiculous.
So,
Anita, the Guaraca River, that impacts your constituency, right? That comes through
Yes,
your
it does.
constituency. Yes.
It does. Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
that if that area floods, it's going to cause major issues for the farmers and everybody else, right?
Correct. It impacts
So,
my constituency as well as the Princeton constituency.
right. And has anything done to dredge that area, or is it being maintained or cleaned or?
That's one of the ones that when I said where it was within our power, we did, but there we needed some help from the Ministry of Works, and so
Right. Yeah. From the government
correct.
end, I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yes,
From the
it has
government.
been. We have a timeline that includes some work over the next month or so. So I'll be better able to report on whether or not it was accomplished after that timeline has passed.
Oh, okay. Because I'm
So-
concerned about
so-
that having an impact on you.
so Miss Haynes, I'm going to read this just as it put in the chat, okay?
Okay.
It says, Miss Haynes, are you aware that we the people want to get rid of both the UNC and the PNM?
I believe I am aware that there is a high level of discontent with the political status quo. I will say to the population, though, that simply changing the name or what you believe is a political entity is not sufficient. What you need to do is be properly invested in the political system. Recognize that you have a say. You can impact the system wherever you are by being proper advocates for yourself. So I think we get too caught up in a sweeping change and wanting something fundamentally different, and not recognizing that true sustainable change is small, successful changes over time. Ensuring that you know who your representative is, you know who your counselor is, you can get in touch with them, you can say whether they are performing or not, and you can see it with a certain level of fact, and not just because you feel you didn't see them, it wasn't, but you know what's going on. You are engaged with their social media pages, you are engaged with their office, and therefore you can say whether or not you are being represented. Those things are important, and until we change our mindset as a population, because both political parties are um created out of the population. We didn't import anybody in any of these political parties to come there from somewhere else to represent us. And so until we change our overall mindset, you are not going to see the change you want. But I do encourage greater political participation, more involved political decision making by all members of the population, and you'll see the change you want.
You know what, Anita, I think you did a good job on that day, you know. I think you do a better
I
job on
strongly
that one.
support that.
You did a better job on that one than the guy you gave it answer.
Well, listen, you see, well, you asked me to tell you the truth, and I tell you the truth, and when you ain't like my answer, you say.
No, look, no, it's not I didn't like the answer. You know, I thought this answer was much more difficult, right? And you know, you didn't give me a political answer. I just say, you know, but here's another.
You didn't get a UNC answer to it, huh?
No, I said a political answer. I didn't know UNC answer. Yeah. So it says, Miss Haynes. Jones says, Miss Haynes, question 1 to 10. How will you grade the COVID performance with the health minister and the government?
We are still going through the impact of the management by the health minister of the COVID situation. For me to grade from 1 to 10 again would be the overall management. We have numbers that show us how many of our citizens did not make it through the pandemic. We have information coming from the hospitals in terms of what the treatment and the service was like. You have we have real time information coming from doctors and nurses as to what was going on. And I think that the COVID report that was commissioned by the government showed very significant evidence that it was not managed well. I'm hesitant to give a number from 1 to 10 because I think that becomes it takes it into the realm of politics and out of the realm of the human experience. But I think as we go forward, I echo the call of the party for a proper inquiry, a public inquiry into the management of the system, because we need the public to be made aware of what exactly happened in those COVID facilities and what our citizens faced at a very, very trying time. And when we have that, we as a population can decide on a number.
Well, based on what I've been hearing, there seems to be a lot of cover-up. A lot of medical staff was pressured to, and stifled.
There's a lot of information that the public really needs to hear, and I think too many of it, and too many persons. What I think is very scary are how many persons will call to give an account, and be so fearful of victimization that they are very worried about going public with that account, and that is very scary as a population. That you have persons who are unwilling or so afraid to speak out, and that really takes us into a very scary space.
But Ms. Haynes, isn't victimization from both parties though? Isn't victimization from like for example?
I am not talking about. Listen, take out the word party for that situation, and any victimization from state-sanctioned power is something that we really need to be concerned about and need to stand against, because when you are holding the power of the state right? And you are using that against the citizens. I think that regardless of what party or anything, it should be nationally condemned. And
Okay.
and so
And
I
we saw
don't
that
Right.
same
want
thing
that
with
to
with
become,
the
All
exemption
right.
thing. We saw that same thing.
yeah, I don't want that to become, that's not, because once you are elected as a government,
Mm,
you are now elected as a government with people of Trinidad and Tobago, and you have to be held to account as such. Same thing, um, once any party is elected, you are now, and state sanctioned power used against citizens. That is a very big problem, extreme problem, and it should be treated as
So
such.
right. So Ulrich, you have to Ulrich says, Miss Haynes, I asked a straight questions and you went around the world with your answer and still didn't
No,
answer
you
the
asked me
question.
to give you a number, and I stated why I'm unwilling to do that.
No,
And I
no,
think
no.
people need to verify.
I don't think it was the one with the number, you know. I think Ulrich
Which one was
asked
it?
the one with um which one is this boy? Ulrich, I don't remember, you know. Ulrich asked two questions. He asked the one, are you aware of the people want to get rid of the both the UNC and the PNM? I think he answered that straightforward. I think that was a straightforward answer. But I think the one he might be talking about might be the one with the commissioner of police. But I think, you know, I mean, sometimes, you know, you answer things, you know, looking at the future
Listen,
as well.
people
But
are
she was
also
right,
asking,
answer. She was
but
perfectly correct in what she said there.
no, but at the end of the day, right? At the end of
Mm,
the day, I would be an irresponsible politician if I am just out here having seen having never been part of the evaluation process to pick a name because I feel like that person should be, or I feel that is very irresponsible, and I'm unwilling to be irresponsible, and so I will not do it. Because if you know, you have the performance of a person, I can evaluate the performance of a person. Can I evaluate them against other potential candidates? Come on, that is, and that's the thing that I'm talking about. Do you, some of the questions are asking us or trying to provoke an answer that, because people want to hear an answer, but if I am unwilling to be cavalier in my responses, or unwilling to just give you an answer, because those things require a lot of thought and a lot of, it requires a significant process, and that's why I answered the question from a process point of view, because I genuinely believe that if you have a job to be filled, right, nobody should fill that job based on what they feel like should happen. It should never be filled like that, because then you wouldn't get the right answer. It should be properly evaluated, weighted processes. That's how you're supposed to do it, and I stand by that, and I'm really sorry if that makes people feel like you're going around the world, but the process is important there. That's how you get the best possible person for the job, regardless of how anybody feels.
Fix the selection process. That is what needs to be fixed, and it shouldn't be played with in the first place.
And once you have a clear and transparent process, you will start getting the best persons for the job, and the best from the pool of applicants. And then you're asking me if I think Gary should. If Gary even want to be commissioner again, he mightn't even apply, right? So it might not even be relevant.
I think he
no,
won at this point, maybe.
no, but he said he wants the prime minister job. He said that.
Yeah,
What is the
yeah.
prime minister's job?
Gary Griffith says he wants the prime minister's
Oh well, you
position.
see, so then people ask him questions in a hypothetical that will not even exist, because man don't even want a job anymore.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. He say he want the highest job in the land, the prime minister job. You know
so
what I mean? And
Yeah.
they say he forming his own party. You know, some type of transformation or something. I don't know.
uh,
I don't know what he want to transform into. You know, but it's left to be seen. You know,
yes, well, we
you know,
shall see.
yeah,
We
it's
shall.
left to be seen. But my saying, as usual, it's always a pleasure when you come and join us here in the village. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us. Any closing words before you go?
I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to engage in productive conversations. And I'm glad that you have so many people tuning in and asking those questions. I think that's a very important step in the right direction. And if we continue to just be thinking about these things that are presented to us, we will really get to where we want to be. And I think that's very important. And so
And let
continue
me
to do
say
what
this.
you're doing. Mhm.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yes, so continue to do what you're doing. Continue to for providing a place where, I mean, I get to talk all the time, I have various platforms, but we don't oftentimes get to get questions from so many different people. And I think that's important. And I appreciate the opportunity. And I'm very grateful for every chance that I get to be here.
And one word, a word you said is productive, and we appreciate that because when we bring people in the village, we try to be as productive as possible. Ask tough questions, because some people are looking for answers, and it's not anti or pro something, but it's just trying for people to get as much information as possible. So when a person like you come in, and you give information, a person say, well, you know what, I didn't know that. So thank you very much. Ms. Hayes, for joining us, and it's always a pleasure.
Most welcome. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Okay,
Thank you, sister, for taking the time.
You're
All right.
welcome. You're welcome.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Okay, so there you have it, folks. Hey, Tommy, you there, boy?
I thought I seen him for a little while, and I know what happened.
Yeah, I think Tommy going somewhere, boy. Yeah. Lana, no joke, eh? When we come in the village, we ask the tough questions, and you answer it accordingly. Ulrich, Ulrich, I like how you treat Anita there, Ulrich says she went around the world, boy.
No. But
Ulrich,
she
I like that, boy.
she pointed out something that needs to be fixed. If you don't fix the process, that is the most important thing she's concerned about, is fixing the process. They don't have a process which can be shifted.
How about Tommy, boy? Tommy, boy, your feedback there, boy. Ulrich said that's why. Ulrich, you're voting in the next election. Don't try that now, Ulrich. Ulrich, you're voting for the UNC. What's your story? Ulrich, that's why what you put? Ulrich said that's why I might not vote next election. He might not. Well, all your listeners, the PDP coming to Trinidad. Eh? The PDP coming to Trinidad. The PDP will be in Trinidad soon. But let me just clear up some news that we have here quickly. Let me see. So, there was first of all, Kelvin Morris, the minority leader of Tobago, he said that when I told Tobagonians that this PDP administration is wicked and vindictive, which a lot of people say for the PNM as well, many attempted to castigate my name. I got news that my wife, who has a master's in international business management and properly applied an interview for her job, has been fired. Farley Chavez Augustine, remember today for me, tomorrow for you. Oh, man, send a threat,
So
yes?
his wife was put there because of party, right? She got the job because of
Gary,
party, right?
Gary,
And listen, the
you know that the
PDP went
first
in
thing
there to
I
clean
say?
house, right? The PDP went
Gary,
in there to clean house.
Gary, that's the thing that I say, I say, but wait now. I say, but yeah, she have a master's degree in international business, okay. But maybe she got there because of politics. And if she get there because of politics, she could also leave because of politics.
It could be a political position.
Right.
I don't know.
If it is a political position and you get there due to politics, politics could bring you and it could take you out.
Exactly.
So what's the problem? And then today for me, tomorrow for you. Right? What about all them other workers who had to go home? What about them?
Why Kevin Morris don't focus on serving the people of Tobago and say, let's see how we can best work together to serve our people in Tobago. That would be the main make sense. But you see, this is the same nonsense going on with Haynes and the cabinet too. Is this kind of political rhetoric and animosity, and it's a PNM problem and a UNC problem. You are the government of the country.
But Gary,
you're the government
but
of all the
Gary,
people.
If people are selected based on qualification, if she was selected based on qualifications as opposed to party affiliation, then I can see. So
it could be a political appointed position. We don't know what it is exactly yet. So we have to know more details before we can really.
Right. What I would like to know, if it was a political appointment, it's like you're on a board. When you get appointed to a board by a party, that's a political appointment. You're not appointed to a board because you're the most qualified. Some of them people have no clue what that board is about. But anyway, today, Mr. Young, on the post-cabinet press conference, he was asked if work was ongoing on the site where the divers lost their life. he stated that Paria will have to answer you all as to what happened since, but I know that they did press pause at the time. So nothing going on, so to speak, right? He was also asked, Mr. Young was asked that Sir Dennis, along with subsea specialist Gregory Wilson and lead counsel Ramesh Lawrence Mirage, present themselves to the public on the week of April 18 and say how they intend to conduct the commission of inquiry, right? So at least information coming to the people. So Kelvin Morris upset, right? Stuart Young reporting to the people and telling the commission of inquiry that, you know, you need to report to the people, right? Mrs. Kamala Prasad Busesa saying that the people want, PNM people want Rowley out. Oh God. Well, yes. Fodi Ferreira, a staunch PM, is saying that he wants the highest level of statesmanship for all the parties in Trinidad and Tobago. He's a known PNM and he's considered to be one of the PNM founders. And he's saying he wants statesmanship for all the parties in Trinidad and Tobago. Let me just see if I could read something here quickly from what he says. Let me see if I get it. Here we go. It's an article in the Trinidad and Tobago Express. Fodi Ferreira. Once again, citizens are called upon to prepare themselves for increasing the cost of living, increased prices on major consumer items already in effect. Right? You talk about Putin invasion, talked about that. And he goes on to say, yet 7 governments in and out of power continue to baffle us with ideas and solutions that hopefully will protect the poor and oppressed from a life of starvation and ultimately crime. God, both Twirly and Twisty have been in government since independence in 1962. Both parties have been beneficiaries of massive inflows from our energy resources. Both parties have been over generous in their sometimes reckless and irresponsible distribution of the national cake, creating and trying to maintain a standard of living characterized by freeness, dependency, and nepotism, create false and impossible expectation. The question is, will manna continue to fall from heaven? The major beneficiaries of this freeness and dependency, gimme syndrome, are the very citizens who are today most vocal critics, not the poor and the victims of the sometimes unproductive and overgenerous political patronage. And he goes on to say, so Fodi Ferreira is talking about wanting higher level of statesmanship in the government. So we see. We will see. We just talked about that. CEO chairman for Paria diving tragedy expected in TNT soon. So he didn't get there yet, but he will be there soon. What else we have here?
What are you supposed to do?
Huh?
What the chairman supposed to do? What he committed to do?
Well, he coming to have the inquiry, man, in charge of the inquiry.
Yeah.
Commission of inquiry, you know.
Well, I want an inquiry on the performance of the government, not so much Paria.
No, well, you ain't gonna get that. Black's funeral is set for April the 6th. People are calling for the government to pay his funeral expenses. You know, so that's an icon that has left off too soon. Right? They say food prices increased 9.7% in 2 years. I mean, I think that's something that's been happening all across the world.
We see about a 40% raise in food prices here. Something a tub of butter was like $6.99 is $8. You know, and you see that with the gas and everything going up. We see that here.
Yeah, I mean,
how do we counterattack it is what is going to come into play.
Yeah, but even Gary, even the 99-cent store is not 99 cents no more.
Yeah, but listen to me. The thing about it here, the difficulty here is I can't plant nothing where I'm at, right? If I'm home in Trinidad, I could plant something. You know, so there's some kind of pros and cons about certain things, and then depends on where you situate in Trinidad is the next thing. You know, but we have the means to boost our agriculture production, which we not really put in a great emphasis, and this is what all man needs to be get involved with this.
Yes, so the PDP is coming to Trinidad. They're opening an office on April the 10th in Barataria, and they're telling people to wear black. Right? So the PDP is going to be in Trinidad, and they're telling people to wear black.
But I thought Ulrich was going to handle the opening of the PDP office up in Laventille. What happened to that?
No, Ulrich making a suit for Duke. What's wrong with you? Ulrich making a special PDP opening suit for Duke. Right, Ulrich? That's what, yeah. Ulrich, all you know, Ulrich is easy, you know. Ulrich, boy, look, the PDP coming, boy. You have a party now, boy. Don't worry yourself, you're good to go. You know what I mean? What are you worrying yourself for?
I want to see if Laventille throw in all the PNM and put the PDP. That's what I want to see. What you happen in election time? How are they going to vote? All the grandchildren and all talk. What does it happen?
Now, PDP will have an impact on the upcoming election. Plain talk, bad manners. Plain talk, bad manners. They are going to have an effect. Lana said, Duke say you walking with candles and torchlight because Kitos like to cut off electricity election day while counting the ballots. What? Capiza wants to know answer why so much UNC lawyers in that Paria case. You know, Capiza, I don't understand that because, I mean, if you're an attorney, right? As an attorney, you have to support a party, right? So if you support a party, does that mean then you shouldn't take a case because there's a PNM or because there's a UNC? Right? I mean, if there's a doctor, you shouldn't do a surgery because there's a PNM or a UNC. It's only a PNM doctors or it's only a UNC doctor.
It is the truth and the fact that the best lawyers in the country seems to be supporting the UNC, that's all.
Now Jones says PDP stay in Tobago and win the 2 seats there. Not Trinidad. They could never win in Trinidad. This is my view. But John, the PDP doesn't have to win in Trinidad, you know. If the PDP wins 3 seats, the 2 Tobago seat and 1 seat in Trinidad, they could actually become the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Remember, there's 41 seats, you know. If each party wins 19 seats, that's 38 seats. And PDP wins 3 seats, they could decide who's going to become the government. It happened in, where did it happen? Is it St. Lucia or Grenada? The same thing happened in Grenada, and the guy who won the least among the seats became the prime minister. So I think we want to underestimate the abilities of the PDP. We have to be very careful because they can have a significant impact. If they win the 2 Tobago seat and then they just win 1 other seat, it can be over.
The Strongs, I ain't supporting nobody.
No, you have to support somebody, man.
No. I want to stay out so I can chastise any one of them.
You have to have a horse in the fight.
I'm going to become the enforcer.
Hey, look, Ulrich say you go think about it, yes? You go think about joining the PDP and making a suit for Watson Duke. Ulrich, let me know, you know, I go talk to you. Balana, why would they? To me, if the PDP wants to be a national party, they have to compete in all 41 constituencies. And I am believing that. I want to believe that they will compete in all 41 constituencies. Right? So there's a great possibility if they have good enough candidates. You never know. Only time will tell.
Aslam, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hearing you.
You remember the time that Robinson had held the trump card? He decided who formed the government.
Correct.
On two occasions.
Yep, he decided that, and he gave it to Patrick Manning.
Yeah. Once to Manning and once to Pandey.
Yep. So Rene Mohammed wants to know who is PDP, the Progressive Democratic Patriots, the party that swept the PNM in Tobago 14-1. You know. And John, you are right. It's the people choice, whoever lawyers they want. Yeah, the people choice. If the people want 25 lawyers and 25 of them is DP, that's who they want. But you see, we get tied up in everything had to be party. Oh, this one from, look.
I wonder if there is actually doctor if he UNC or PNM when he go to the hospital. And if you have too much of UNC doctor, then you're taking the treatment.
Now listen to this, right? Capiza asks, and Sam, you're like a true PNM. Them could wait two in Tobago. How they forming the government? Think about that, right? Can anybody tell Capiza how they could form the government if they win the 2 seats?
Yes, they can join with either party and form the government, right. Choose which party forms the government. So they would be the ones holding the trump card.
So let me say, for example, if it's 20-19-2, right? That's 41 seats, right?
They can give their 2 to the 19 and make it 21-20. They can give their 2 to the 20 and make it 22-19.
There we go. Thank you very much. So Capiza's a great, I think he's a very good engineer, you know.
Okay.
I think he's a great engineer, yeah. Capiza, that's how it could go. All right? All right, let's go for a quick station identification. But before we go, right? Let me see who I had before we go for that quick break here. So Joan, Lana, Albert, Joan, Lana, Albert, Joan, Lana, Albert, Nadia and Rajvi. Put closing comments in the chat. Nadia and Rajvi. Joan, Lana, Albert, Nadia, and Rajvi. Please put closing comments in the chat. We're going to go for a quick station identification. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Come to every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. Stick and stay. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back after.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
We are back with you. It's in the village with the DAG Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. Right? So, yes, Lana, you're absolutely right. PDP can give their votes to whoever party. If it's 21-19, if I give the 19, they becomes 21-20. If I give the 20, it becomes 22-20. So they're holding the trump card. So people, don't be so quick. Don't be so quick to say that PDP have no chance. PDP don't want to win 19 seats. Right? No, it's not. No, well, listen to this. So Capiza says, right? So Kamala have 19 seats. We go make Juke PM. All you mad? No, it's not mad. It's which party decide they want to be in power.
But they wouldn't make him the PM. What they would do is he would get to negotiate benefits for his people.
But Tommy, the party in, I have to look it up, is either Grenada or one of those small islands. The guy with the minority among the seats became the prime minister. That was the negotiation.
he negotiated that.
Yes, he negotiated that. It's a negotiation.
Right.
It's a negotiation. So if it's a 1919 tie, for example, right? Somebody got to decide, well, boy, I think I want, it's better to get half of the pie than no pie.
Well,
I look at it that way.
He would do what Robinson did, because Robinson negotiated with both sides and decided and made a decision.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Albert just said that happened in St. Vincent when Mitchell won the seat in the Grenadines. So yeah, it has happened. It has happened. And I think we have to look at that. That's important.
So we could have Prime Minister Fali.
No, well, it will be Prime Minister Duke.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Fali cannot be the I don't think you could be the chief and run for a seat as well. I don't know. We got to find that out.
He may have to, even if he resigns, put somebody else in as chief, and then he runs for the seat.
Yeah, Keisha, just good night, Keisha. Just stay in contact and let me know what the deal is. Yeah, it happened twice in Trinidad. It can happen again.
Yep.
It can actually happen again. So people are thinking that you have to win. You have to win the most seats. You don't have to win the most seats.
You just have to have
right?
the power.
Because if you win the most seats and the party that get 19 decide they're going to form a coalition with the PDP, that's the party going to be in power. But the question that's going to be asked is there going to be a coalition if the PDP wins 2 seats? That's the question. That is the question. Kapisa says grasping at P&M straws. I don't know. How is that grasping at P&M straws? You think so, Tommy? How is that grasping at P&M straws?
I think that's out of time in that statement.
Mm-hmm. Say that again?
I said that statement is out of timing because we just talking about a scenario that would happen if it's split down the middle and the deciding factor is the Tobago vote.
And Lana is right too. No? If let me say the tie is 20-20, UNC get 20, PNM get 20, and the UNC wins 1 seat, right?
PDP wins 1 seat.
The PDP. UNC win 20, UNC win 20, PNM win 20, and PDP wins 1 seat. They could decide who will form the government.
Who forms the government based on negotiation? Yeah. I guess they could talk to both sides and find out who wants to do what for them.
You see, and Albert says tonight was yet another enlightening discussion with our guest Anita. She cleared up a few things, and this is what it is about, And I mean,
a lot of hedging. When you ask questions, there's a lot of hedging. Anyway, I don't want to give my opinion because
no, you need to give your opinion. What do you mean you don't need to give your opinion?
My opinion might be controversial because
that's not controversial. You're giving your opinion.
But you see the quality of people that is in the UNC, huh? Okay.
Listen, I live through the partnership in Trinidad, and I know a lot of things that they said they were going to do, they never did.
No, John.
Tommy, but you know a lot of things that was done that you never seen done before too, with the level of performance all around.
They had the budget and they did they did certain things, and because oil prices shut up while they were in power, so they had good income, they had good luck.
It was management of the funds. It's how you manage your money. It's how you treat your people. All right, we saw a higher level of service delivery.
But the population also believed that they mishandled the funds in a lot of ways. That's why they didn't give him another term.
Well, I don't think
I was there.
I don't think that was that so much. They mishandled. There was a lot of racket that we heard about. A lot of it true. A lot of it was propaganda. So
Gary, come on, man, Gary. What was propaganda? If you give me a sign,
email gate for number one was propaganda. All right.
Well, that was the least of the issues. The
Section 34, they all voted for it, and then the PNM do a 360 on it.
The sports thing was probably the biggest thing.
The sports thing, and who was the biggest beneficiaries of the sports, of the live sports?
It don't matter who was beneficiary.
No. We gotta go there. Who's the bigger? Was the beneficiaries there? The beneficiaries of the live sport was some of the young people and the same gangsters that are ruling in the PNM.
So you're saying the PNM was the beneficiary from Email Gate? I say that. Is that what you're saying? I'm talking about
live sport.
Answer me.
The people that hijack live sport. Who were they?
What you're saying is the PNM hijack live sport.
Yes? Where was the people? Where are their location? Where the geographic location of the people that hijack live sports? Where the people that threaten Kamla and Bullishi for contracts?
Anyway, Gary, this is going.
No, you call it as it is. It is really those people who were enrooted in the PNM, right? That the gangsters that are ruling the country, that are calling the shots and threatening the Prime Minister.
So the gangsters are only PNM in this country, in Trinidad. You're saying the gangsters are only...
I am talking about the ones that you're blaming the UNC for with the live sport. The gangsters were PNM gangsters.
That benefited from the live sport. That's what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Follow the money. See what the money... Who get the money?
Now, but Gary,
I know much more than I can even say.
Yeah, Gary, that's inaccurate though. That's inaccurate.
Gary, I know much more than I would even say.
Yeah, we cannot say, and we should not say that
who is the man charged? Who is the man charged for killing certain people? Who is the man charged for doing certain things? I mean, it's right up in our face. It's in the public domain.
So you're saying the PNM people and PNM listen. No, anyway,
I wouldn't say because I don't know who was the culprits in live sport. I don't know if it was PNM people or if it was the UNC people, but you know it was people, and the program had to be stopped, and there was problems with the program. There was corruption in the program.
The program was hijacked. The program was hijacked by gangsters.
Gary, there was corruption in the program. That's why it had to stop.
But I just said the program was hijacked by gangsters.
No, who's saying hijacked? It wasn't hijacked. There was corruption. That's why it stopped.
Who was administering it?
We had Anil here before. Anil discussed this and explained all that thing.
Gary.
Let's
said he didn't want to talk about it.
Let's set up a discussion with Anil on this.
Yeah, Gary, Anil said he didn't want to talk about it, and I respected his wishes.
That's right.
He said he didn't want to talk about it, and I said, fine.
He got an explanation too about how the money was. We think he was getting blamed for that.
No.
He had no control.
When we got to live sport, he said he didn't come here for that.
What?
And the subject was dropped immediately.
We got to bring him in because I don't think I'm afraid to talk about anything.
Gary,
well, no, if we bring him, you just gotta let him know that, listen, live sport is gonna come up, right? So you don't feel like he's blindsided.
I gotta talk to Gary off air.
No, we gotta bring in Alan and straighten all this misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Gary.
Okay. All right. Good night, John. Good night, Renee. Let me see. Okay. Okay, folks. All right. So, my closing quote for the night is that This is a favorite quote of mine. Your circumstances may determine who you are, but you are responsible for who you become. Your circumstances may determine who you are, but you are responsible for who you become. And Martin Luther King says, your life ends the day you remain silent about things that matter. Your life ends the day you remain silent about things that matter. Go ahead, Gary. All right, so let's get Tommy.
Anyway, my quote
Go
is,
ahead, Tommy.
never look down on a man unless you're picking him up. And that's all I have to say tonight.
Yeah. All right, good night. Yeah. Gary, you there? Yeah, Renee, I will play that song, Back to Basic by Trinidad Rio. I like that one.
How are the comments?
Yeah, give me a couple.
Hey, Gary, you there? Okay. Yeah, let me see the closing comments now.
Yeah, give me a minute. I'll join you right back.
Okay, all right. Tommy, look, Albert Montano telling you something, right? He said, Tommy, Dr. Williams promised to provide housing for all, and in 1978, Dr. Williams again said, after the Caroni Arena Dam was the solution for the water problems. But you know, I had something to play. We go play that Saturday with respect to the Minister of Public Utilities. Lana says we can all argue as much as we want. Nothing's going to change until the next election when we get a new government. Okay, let me go to the closing comments now.
Hopefully we wouldn't get exchanged, Lana.
Yeah, hopefully. You'll get real change. Okay, so Rajvi says, good night, everyone. Tomorrow is April. In a few days, restrictions are gone. We must now be grateful we are seeing these days. From next week is dance and willy willy. All right, Rajvi.
When he said we are all one people under the same sun.
Who's
Peace
that?
and love. Rennie Muhammad.
Okay, cool.
We are
It
all
was
one
always...
people.
Go ahead, Tommy.
We are all one people under the same sun.
Okay.
Peace and love to everyone.
Okay. Takesha says, it's always a joy to be in the village. God bless the platform and team that has it. God bless everyone in the chat. Be safe, everyone. And some take your advice and get the letter. Okay. Okay. Albert Montano says, tonight was another enlightening discussion with our guest Anita. She cleared up a few things. Thank you. Lana's closing comments are, never lose hope, keep your head held high, and keep moving forward. Yep, that's a good one too, Lana. I think that's it.
Yes, Nadia.
Yeah, I think I ain't seen Nadia on.
And she said, bye, everyone. Have a blessed night. Stay safe, everyone.
Okay, good, good. Ulrich says, okay, I will think about it. All right. Get Trinidad Rio back to basic. Yeah, but we got to go back to basic in Trinidad. Right? Trinidad Rio. Back to basics.
And while we back to basic, we could rewrite the Constitution.
Yeah. Correct is right to know, Tommy. We need to rewrite that Constitution in truth, boy.
But none of them wanted, none of them who in power wanted, because they become kings, supreme kings with the existing Constitution. They don't want to.
Like nobody want to touch the Constitution, boy.
Only talk.
I think Senator Jayanti was explaining about that part of rewriting the Constitution and the steps it takes, right? How difficult it is, right?
Okay. Yeah, Gary, closing comments? Gary?
No, Gary, who was talking about it was Rodney Charles, saying that they will be killed if they do.
All right, let me go to Trinidad Rio. Back to basics.
Trinidad Rio, back to basics.
Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is straight, die-hard, genuine, authentic fighting. This is how the story goes.
I went to public utilities and tell them disconnect them facilities. But me want them. I tried to contact the ombudsman, but never in office. I'm going to file me an injunction on public service. But every time a heavy rainfall, I me don't have no current at all. They spoil my TV, they spoil my fridge. They nearly kill me with low voltage. Now before they make me a lunatic, I'm going back to basic. I'm going and get a flambeau and lamp with a wick. I'm going back to basic. I call my fans and I call my friends to let them know that if they have a message to send, tell Tembo. And if they come home and they see me, tell me neighbor, or get a pen and a writing pad and write a letter. Cause DSPT does make me weep. One of the days when old talk was cheap, I make a phone call to Alvaro and I get a phone bill to Mexico. Oh my lad, before they kill me and kill me quick, I'm going back to basic. A piece of marling and two climpan wouldn't do the trick. I'm going back to basic. I went and buy me a motor car for my own comfort. Cause I can't take no more torture waiting on transport. But all them potholes and all them bumps, the car ain't able until they invent a car to jump. I will travel. I beg the Lord to please put a hand, touch the hearts of this spare parts man. I used to have a raise in the bank. Now every cent gone in me gas tank. Now I prefer roller with piece of sticker. I'm going back to basic. Or buy a 3-speed bike, go in chick. I'm going back to basic. Now the only competent source that really working is when you can't pay your bills on time. They come cutting. Incompetence and disregard. Ain't no humor. Cause the situation is sad for the poor consumer. The word water does give me gripe. I ask for water, they can give me pipe. I can't even get my clothes to wash. My
Me toilet full and can't even flush. Now they make me condemn me toilet bowl. I'm going back to basic. And now I'm digging a latrine hole. I'm going back to basic. Yes! You like it? I do. Trinidad Rio. Trinidad Rio. Back to basics. Yesterday, I went to the store to buy a cooler, then get my Indian partner next door to make a chula. I buy a donkey cart from Ramdeen to make a stagecoach, then put some safran in my latrine to kill the cockroach. I buy a posy made in Hong Kong, the only silver posy in town. Well, if you see the latrine I built, there is the cleanest one on the hill, all down inside the hole and around the walls. I always splitting. You know why? To make sure cockroach ain't bite me. Trinidad Rio. Rio. Back to basics. Long time me, Gypsy and Kokro. Back in the earlys, we used to go downtown after show, pick up the ladies. Window shop, take them along, buy them a roti, then find the cheapest hotel in town and make a pakoti. But time changes and so do we. So put that down in Kaiso history. But if you should do the same today, it's like a game, a Russian roulette. So now before one of them get me sick, going back to basic, I prefer sit down in a corner and going back to basic. Trinidad Rio. Back to basics. You know from the time I take off my tie, right? Is it? I went to public utilities and tell them disconnect them facilities. Was me a wonder. I tried to contact the ombudsman, but never in office. I'm going to file me an injunction on public service. But every time a heavy rain fall, by me don't have no current at all. They spoil my TV, they spoil my fridge, they nearly kill me with low voltage. Now before they make me a lunatic, I'm going back to basic. I'm going and get a flambeau and lamp. I'm going back to basic. Thank you very much. Trinidad Rio. That's the basics.